All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday night, and we're going to certainly try to talk about some different things in the world. A lot going on in the wrestling mainstream world, and we'll talk about SmackDown. We'll talk about what happened in AEW, some other news there, and we're back here with a man that looks like he's got some hair pushed on the top a little bit there, pushing some hair on the top there. He is the host of the Hockey Fan Chat. He is the one and only Mr. Randy Dillon, also our senior wrestling analyst. And Randy, happy Friday, and how's everything going?
I'm doing good, Tom. How's it going with you?
It's been an interesting last 48 hours, but trying to move on from it, trying to move away from some of the stuff in the backyard wrestling world and trying to just go forward. I think we've done that, but let's talk about some current events in the world. SmackDown, what was your thoughts?
This was actually a pretty good episode of SmackDown. Good. I think the return of AJ Styles was very good, setting up with his match with Carmelo Hayes. Unfortunate. I'm interested to see is it'll work or not. I have to think he's actually hurt. Otherwise, he wouldn't be slamming the ring like that. We had I had to say Chelsea Green and Michin put on an excellent
Hopefully, Chelsea
dumpster.
Green took a shower afterwards, right?
Hopefully, because it looked like she stank after it, but that was a good performance there. The match between Naomi and Tiffany Stratton was good. They're keep playing to see if she's going to turn on Nia, and then the triple threat ladder match, like that was a banger.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about that. What did you think about the situation also with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax tonight? What did you think about that there?
They're building something. I don't. They're trying to figure out the right moment for her to cash in the briefcase. I don't know if it's going to be this Sunday, if they're going to push it long term, but they're definitely building something for her to cash in on Nia. Like I expect Nia somehow is going to retain tomorrow against Bailey. Are we going to see a cash in? I doubt it because there's other things planned, and the fact that they're not doing the Hell in a Cell match at the main event also tells me that. But I think down the road, maybe closer to Rumble near the end of the year, I could see Tiffany just saying screw it to Nia.
Well, we're going to find out. Obviously, we're joined here by TBK. How you doing there, my friend? And we're talking about SmackDown here off to a late start. But what was your overall impressions on some of the things on tonight's show?
So, I mean, as I've been saying lately, I mean, SmackDown has felt like it's very lackluster. I mean, tomorrow's pay-per-view is entitled Bad Blood.
Yes, Bad Blood. Yes.
What I saw tonight was a lack of aggression. You know, if I have bad blood with somebody, Randy, and I saw you there. If I have bad blood with somebody, I'm coming at them, man. I'm coming at them with everything I got. I mean, maybe you can agree, maybe you can disagree, but the two most exciting spots of the night was Michin and Chelsea Green, through the table into the dumpster, and probably the main event. And,
yeah, main event was good.
I mean, if I'm the Street Profits at this point, I'm going to Triple H going, hey, can I stop being the fall guy now? Can I please get the title? I've gone through so many matches. There's no reason that the Tongans need the title belts to be relevant right now. You're in the bloodline. You're in one of the biggest stories, period. They don't need the belts. Give it to the guys who have been consummate. They've been there. They've been in so many matches. They've put in the work. They deserve it.
What do you guys, before I go to my buddy, my new co-host, Mr. Barry Gutman here of Amazing Candles, Big Country Barry Gutman here, but Barry's obviously doing some investigative reporting on SmackDown and other things. But you guys like the early start time, 6 o'clock Eastern time? What do you guys make of that?
Nope.
No, why not? Tell me why you don't like it.
Who lives out in the West Coast? That's a 3 p.m. start time for me.
Ooh,
so that's like you got to pick, okay, the 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 6, you can kind of make it work. But 3 p.m. start time's like, okay, it's like the middle of the day and then the evening just going around. So it really just screws up your whole day here.
And what about you, TBK? What do you think about a 6 o'clock time?
I mean, I'm not against it. I feel like recently, because of all the overseas PLEs that we've been
Like
getting.
1 o'clock start time, 12 o'clock start time.
If I'm waking up at 1, well, I better be up before 1 or I just sound lazy. But if I'm watching something around 1 o'clock on the weekend, it better be football. So 6 o'clock, I'm not mad at it. It's a little strange, but it's all right.
Barry, could you imagine, getting up at 6 o'clock in the evening, Barry? You can imagine us, Barry, in those days getting up at 6 o'clock Eastern time, Barry. Can you imagine
That's what happened today.
So Barry, tell me we got a lot of people too, because obviously you're drumming up the viewership, thankfully, for your amazing candles group that we're in on Facebook. But why'd you get up so late today? What was going on? Were you waiting for me to call you on Facebook or something? What was the matter?
Nah, I just had a little bit too much fun last night. That's what happened.
Well, you were on the show yesterday. You were having a lot of fun.
That too.
So what kind of fun? Hopefully it was fun that was not like some of the things we spoke about the last couple of days. I would hope so, right?
No, definitely not.
No?
Just a little bit too much sipping.
You putting candles together? Is that what it is?
Actually, yeah, it was last night. I actually sent you the video.
Did you put one to? You did send me the video. Yes, you did. You did send it.
Yeah.
I got to look at it again. We'll put it up there. But Barry, do you like pay-per-views starting earlier in the day? Does that matter to you? Does that anything you want to say on that?
It doesn't matter what time, but you got to remember about all the people that is watching. Everyone's from all time zones.
That's true.
So if you start early, people somewhere else can't really watch because they're sleeping. Think about it.
So everybody then doesn't like a 6 o'clock time zone then to start. No,
I think the 10 o'clock you should stick with the 10 because a lot more people are on at that time.
Well, that's the UFC side of it. I'm sure you've heard WWE now is merged with UFC, so that's why they're not doing the 10 o'clock time for WWE.
I think the 8 p.m. Eastern time is a pretty good time because it's not too late up in the East and it's not too early. Again,
well, pay-per-views used to always start at 8 o'clock. I mean, the 7 o'clock thing's only been the last several years. I remember they started at 8 o'clock. It was like, okay, 8 o'clock, that's it. It would go from 8 to 11. 7 o'clock's only in the past decade, right? The past decade or so was 7 o'clock. It used to be everything was 8 o'clock. Even I think WrestleMania was 7 o'clock, but everything else was 8 o'clock. It was maybe the Royal Rumble. There was one Royal Rumble that was in the afternoon, like when the Super Bowl wasn't what it was today, but that's what it was.
That's why I was going to say, like I miss it being on Sundays too. Like I used to look forward to Sundays because usually, like I said, you'd get that 1 o'clock game, you'd knock that out, and then you'd have something to look forward to. But I guess we're comparing apples to oranges here. You're going to watch regardless, right, Randy?
I'm going to watch regardless. I'll try to fit it, but I think
that's all that matters.
You're 3 o'clock. So at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, maybe are you doing something? And that some people in the West Coast, you say?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's things. It's a nice day, the weather, you're with your family and stuff.
Like,
kind of plan your day, say 3 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm going to go watch wrestling and then 3 hours, 6 p.m. Okay, what do you do? At least if it starts at 5 or 4, it's like, okay, 7 and 8, kind of the evening. Maybe I'll grab a bite to eat or something. But 3 o'clock, it's like, just throw the wrench in your day.
Yeah. Well, what about me?
That's why we got Barry Gutman. We got Big Country Barry Gutman. Barry's in the chat, actually. He's in the chat, actually. So Barry's in the chat. He's here on the stream and in the chat. That's how hard Barry is working. Okay, so basically, we got the situation with Tiffany and Nia is interesting. Reactions on the main event then.
That was good. I thought, TPK said it was good. I think the problem with Bad Blood is a lot of the angles for Bad Blood is related to Raw. We have Dom, we have the triangle with Dom, Liv, and Rhea, Damian, Finn, who has some real heat, and then you have Punk and McIntyre. SmackDown match, you have the rematch between Nia and Bailey, and then you have the tag team match with Cody and Roman, Solo and Jacob Fatu. But the Raw few matches are just there's more aggression to it, I find. But the ladder match, heck, it was a good match. I thought all the spots were good. I thought Tonga and Tonga Loa, they actually really proved why they are a good tag team before they joined WWE outside. I thought this was one of the chance they actually got a chance to shine, to say what they truly are made of, and hopefully that's more to come along. But overall, I thought it exactly what a main event should be.
That's fair. What did you guys think about a couple weeks ago? The Intercontinental title changing hands. Did you guys like that, or what was your feelings on that? We haven't spoke since then. What was your both thoughts on that?
Maybe it was definitely shocking. I agree with that 100%, Randy. It was shocking, and I have to say for myself, I can't help but feel that maybe it was a little too soon, and to do it, for it to be his first singles title and a major singles title at this point, because the Intercontinental Championship has definitely been brought back into relevance thanks to Gunther and Sammy and I just not on a regular show. I would have much rather preferred him to have a big moment at a big PLE, but we'll see how he carries it. He's deserved it for a long time, and to quote John Cena, I guess the time is now.
Well, I mean, he hadn't had a major singles title in his career, and if you're going to make the move, and maybe you get a chance to see what Braun Breaker has, and maybe a different title picture.
Yeah, no,
For sure.
yeah, like could they've done it in a big pay-per-view? Absolutely, but I think one they want, especially with Raw going, I think to Netflix, they need to start putting these big moments up. I think you really, especially streaming is so much different than cable television. You really want people to tune in. I think, listen, you can get a title change. Why not? I think it's the first time a title's changed hands on Raw in how many years, but I think the time was right. Like I was a little shocked they took the title off Braun a little way too quick, but I think giving to Jay the right move, because I think you look at last year to this year, he's been on a roll. How much more could you do with the guy without giving him a title?
I mean, Barry, he knows a lot about this stuff because, Barry, your good old Barry, by the way, the new co-host, by the way, Barry, what do you think about that in these wrestling shows? They make these championship changes so soon. Do you think that that's a good idea, Barry? Or think we should just, let them be champions till the end of time? What do you think on that stuff, Barry? Because you've worked for some winners like David Starobin, who was a winner by 13
He wasn't a wrestler, though.
He shouldn't be a wrestler, David Starobin, especially after his appearance on Sportswire last night. He should not be a wrestler.
He's got it sounds like a referee.
He was
a referee type name, don't
he wouldn't be a good referee because he's a lawyer, and he's speaking of people that get up late. That's
David no, he said definitely shouldn't be a referee.
David Starobin should not be a referee. If anybody, we were our former employer once upon a time, definitely.
Okay.
Once upon a time.
Once a long time ago, but as I said, Barry, we're more famous than him now these days.
Oh, for sure.
But you like that stuff, Barry? Before I get to some of the people in the chat, what do you think? They should be champions for a long time.
Hey, listen, they should.
Barry, you're the candle maker, right?
He's the amazing candles. I'm going to put up Barry's Twitch up in a minute. He's the amazing candle maker.
Slogan for you: Barry Gutman, making candles and drinking beer. America.
Barry, I don't think you drink beer.
I don't drink beer.
Barry, you never were a beer drinker. Barry doesn't drink beer.
I drink the good stuff. To say that.
Good stuff. Barry Gutman.
What are we drinking?
Pineapple Bayberries.
Okay.
Oh, Barry, I didn't realize you were doing Vapory. I thought you were like a goody two shoes. But that was years ago. That was years ago.
That was back then.
Yeah, because you're not working for a politician anymore. That's why.
No, thank God.
There's no more State Senator Marty Golden and David Starobin. That's why.
No. Listen, now we talked about that last night.
Yes, I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot going forward.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure, because I'm going to regurgitate that to the end of time. Okay, so we like that. I want to ask you guys 2 hours on Netflix. What do you guys make of that? And then I want to talk about the CW NXT debut in a minute. We'll go bounce around. What do you guys like that 2 hours Netflix?
Go ahead, Randy.
I think 2 hours is good. Like Raw for 3 hours on television, I think worked with the commercials. I think 2 hours on Netflix is good just to start off to get a base for it, because I think it's a streaming. WWE going to streaming, they've done on PLE, which is completely different than I think a weekly television show. So I think get a feel for it to see let's see how 2 hours start, and then do we change it later to 3 hours? Because I think they definitely have ways to move. And who knows, maybe Raw, instead of like 2 hours, like we've seen it before where it goes 15 minutes over, maybe instead of goes half an hour over, because they have that opportunity. So we'll see how things work out.
Could you make the argument that a 2 hour show, maybe you get more in and you're not so much, almost wasting with filler spots, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. I think Randy hit the nail on the head. Like, with the added thing of having no commercials, possibly, I think a 3-hour show definitely lends itself to dragging on. You'd have to have a lot of ideas, a lot of good ideas, strong ideas to keep people's attention without a break for a while. So, I mean, this is all experimental, right? This is experimental for them. So who knows? Maybe if people like it, maybe if people love it, they bring back the 3 hours. But for right now, playing it safe, I think, is okay, because you're going to get the viewership.
Yeah, there's no question that they're going to get the viewership here. Let's run through some of the people in the chat while Barry's obviously scouting future comments. But yes, Comatose, who shared our show on Instagram. Good to see Comatose. Comatose is here on the 14th with a bunch of the guys in BTW, by the way. Thank you, Zilla. I just saw Zilla in the ROBW chat, and I saw Zilla. I think Zilla was in the NEW chat as well. Yes, we lost some subscribers, but that's for obvious reasons. That was pretty much spoke about the last 2 days, but that's good by us. We appreciate the honesty. But yes, hi to how you doing, Barry? Barry, how you doing?
Doing good.
Hello to CJ Black. Definitely hello there. I was watching
What up, CJ?
before. James Taylor, how you doing, Jay? I just saw James in the RWW chat. Yep, we see hello to TBK. He's there also. Yes, Anthony Steele won the IMF US title just before Ox McCoy. I just saw Ox McCoy. How you doing, Ox? I see him twice. We also got here. Mom's in the house, by the way, and definitely saying hello there. Mom's
Hi,
making
Mom.
sure we share the show. Barry, now that you're famous, do you want to say anything to Mom? Now that you're famous,
I'm famous now.
because the Twitches you were putting on with Supermarket Stimulator, they were getting like no viewers. Now you're with viewers.
Oh yeah. Now I got viewers, you know.
You got viewers. You got fans now, Instagram followers. Yeah, Zilla says hello. Okay, all right. So you know what? We'll go into that.
New slogan. Sorry, since you don't drink beer. Barry Gutman. I make candles and people love me. How you doing?
He is, and he's from Brooklyn. And where he lives, he is actually in he is in central Brooklyn, in the hood, by the way.
Okay.
Barry's in the hood. That's why Barry,
Sheesh.
You want to do background checks? Barry's the one to give you the background checks. Look at the size of this man. I know this man. He trusts me. You want him to have the background checks. He'll make sure. We said yesterday in the show. Remember, Barry, we were talking about if those things happened for us in Brooklyn growing up. Remember we said they wouldn't have made 10 minutes. That wouldn't have lasted exactly. They wouldn't have lasted 10 seconds. You were 10 seconds. That would have took 10 years. But yeah, but it's like 10 times the size of me. But that's okay. But okay, good enough. That's another point for another show for a different time. But okay, so now is there anything in Bad Blood you're interested in? Obviously, we talked about Dom, we talked about Rhea, we talked about Liv, we talked about the Terror Twins. Anything at all in Bad Blood? Or is Bad Blood? Would you just skip Bad Blood tomorrow?
They're the rumor Rock's going to show up.
Somebody was telling me that. Yeah. So why now?
I think if they want to really get things rolling, I think maybe with rating with Smack. I think it had to do with the rating with SmackDown, how they've dropped off quite a bit since going Fox, and I think they want to build it up again. I think it had to do as well with their big the Survivor Series match. If they really want to get that thing going for War Games, you have to bring him in now. So I think things are getting pushed maybe a little bit full head of steam here. But I think the big thing, the viewership with SmackDown. I think they gotta get something to try to get it up.
But okay, I've heard something on this, but they went from Fox to USA. Isn't that naturally you lose viewers from that?
Yeah, definitely is natural, but I think they didn't think it would be that big of a loss. I think they didn't think.
But you're on cable. But you went from linear to cable.
Yeah.
No. If you went from linear to cable, doesn't that mean you're going to lose viewers? You're in less homes, though.
Yeah, no. The other thing, I just think maybe The Rock he wants to come back now and see how things.
So if The Rock's coming back, could we expect The Rock in a ring or not? How soon?
I don't think he's going to be in War Games. But could he be
a TBK or what?
I mean. I've said it before, and people are probably like, "Man, he repeats himself a lot, doesn't he?" But they made a point to point out that The Rock was going to be in the same place as Bad Blood, so if he shows up tomorrow, it's not going to be much of a surprise. But still, Okay. That just, I'm
Very.
sorry. That threw me all off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, Barry, that's going to be the new promo poster for us, I think.
That's great. I love it. Anyway,
Anyway,
the Rock, the Rock being there, if he's got a break in his schedule, he did say, you'd have to wait a couple months. It's been a couple months. And yeah, I agree with Randy. They need to give this bloodline thing with Solo on Solo's end a shot in the ass. They need the Rock, because I'm sorry, Solo is boring, dude. I cannot stand Solo at this point.
Well, that's a good point. Go ahead. I got you. All right, I'm listening.
And the mouthpiece of all mouthpieces, even if he doesn't get in the ring, he doesn't need to. He's the Rock. You're looking forward to the promos. You're looking forward to the mouth at this point. That sounded weird. I'm sorry, but but you know what I mean. He's known for talking. He's known for being hot on that mic. So if he shows up tomorrow, the place is going to go crazy. So I mean, you can't lose.
So where does The Rock fit into all of this? Where does he naturally fit in with this whole bloodline story? Where does he go with it?
I think he fits in coming in saying, you told Roman you lost at WrestleMania. You're now teaming up with this clown and Cody. Solo, I told you to become the leader, but you couldn't get the job done. Now I need to get things back on track.
Yeah, it would be, you know what? Randy just brought up a really good point. It would be really interesting to see if The Rock confronts Roman and is like, after everything we went through, after all the talk, after the disrespect, you teamed with this clown, or something like that. That would, yeah, I agree with Randy 100%. I mean, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just straight up disrespects Solo and goes straight for Roman and has that conversation. Which at this point, like I said, we've been, commentators just said, I hope they start that rivalry soon. They've been teasing The Rock and Roman for so long. I am still sticking by that. We have to see that. That has to happen. Now, I know that there's people that want to see Jacob and Roman. I know that there's people that want to see Cody and Rock. But, dude, you cannot keep dangling the fish in front of people like that. Like, you've dangled this match between Rock and Roman for so long. You've got to give it to the fans. Somehow, some way, you got to do it.
I got a couple comments on that. Let me read Zilla's one because I didn't realize Zilla actually likes non-backyard underground wrestling. The Rock is the real tribal chief and the mastermind behind the new bloodline. I thought Barry was, but I guess it's The Rock.
Barry's the man on a mission. He does everything.
Barry's a country fan. Lives in the hood and loves country.
Making candles is a front.
I don't know.
He's really making follows.
But is The Rock the mastermind behind the new bloodline?
I have to say that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They could introduce it that way.
Okay. Comatose said, I hope they start that rivalry soon.
Yep. Agreed. 100%. Needs to happen.
Okay. All right. We'll have to see. Did you guys like the whole cinematic thing between Cody and Roman a couple weeks ago? What did you guys make of that?
Yes, because it would. Okay. Let's see if you agree with me, Randy. Yes, because it was done very well. Very, very weird atmosphere to do it on a college football field, but it was still done. It was still done very well. So I can't complain about that.
I guess the semblance of it was Roman played college football there. Cody's from there, so let's have the meeting of the minds and where they both have some kind of history with, more or less.
Right.
The one thing I'm going to add to that is it teases that little bit that there's that third match that's still going to happen. I think that was a big thing because Roman.
Well, there has to be a rubber match. There has to be a rubber match.
Because Roman asked in that promo, "What do you want from me?" He's like, "I don't want you to stab," and Cody's like, "This is mine. It's not yours anymore." So there's still that tension. Roman wants his title back, but Cody's like, "No." So it's going to happen. is it going to happen at Crown Jewel? I think that we're kind of heading, but Rumble seems maybe in a better spot, but we'll see.
Let me get to a couple of comments here. First, let's come back to you. Ron Franklin's in the house. Yep, Ron, how you doing? Nice to see you, Ron. Ron's back in the house. Ron obviously is worried about his Phillies tomorrow. We'll leave him alone with that. I love the cinematic scene. I love when wrestling does that. That's a good point. Yeah, wrestling, when they do that, it's really interesting. Zilla has a great point. It was great. It was great, good, and awesome, and amazing and cool. Well, thank you, Zilla, for giving us all the exact things that you said you liked.
All
about
the words, all of them.
Just give us all the words. And Barry also wants to remind me, because yesterday Barry didn't do the laundry. Now he did the laundry, because yesterday on the show Barry had all the laundry piled in the background, but now Barry's done the laundry because he knows that he's on Sportswire.
Good job, Barry.
Barry's doing it. Also, we got some candles to plug in a minute. We'll definitely plug the candles, Barry. But good. Thank you, Barry, for reminding us about the laundry.
It was noticeable yesterday.
It
I
was
had to
noticeable.
clean it up.
We actually were losing viewers because they saw the laundry piles in the bag.
Right.
Are you a Gain fan or a Tide Pod fan? What Tide or Gain? What's your thing, Barry?
Neither.
Okay, well, no.
We'll move on. Barry's
I can't pick something I don't like.
Hey, Barry, I agree with you. You got to pick the right detergent. You don't want your clothes to feel not right after you wash them.
You don't want to feel
like Chelsea Green.
Exactly.
I will not be attacked like that, Randy.
Definitely don't want that there. And we are here on Sportswire Radio. We were joined here by Barry Gutman, the now semi-co-host. He is the man behind the Amazing Cans, which is on Facebook. You have gotten an invite. Thank you for joining. We have with Randy Dillon. Randy is the host of the Hockey Fan Chat. He is also our senior wrestling analyst. He dabbled in the world for it. We're also joined by TBK of the Be More Talkative podcast. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you're on Sportswire Radio, I would appreciate it if you hit the sub button for me. I am still very close to 1,000 subscribers. I am 65 away. I was 58 once upon a time, but obviously individuals unsubscribed after some certain things said yesterday, more or less, on the show, but that's okay. We move on. We want to have the right people and the right point of history to hit the sub button for us. But thank you everyone for tuning in. I got to go to AEW. I got about 20 minutes or so here. I can talk wrestling for. Then I got to get some guys on and talk about the other topic in the world where Barry's going to actually know something, which is sports. Barry actually is a sports fan. He knows a lot about that because he used to play sports. But AEW has got a new contract deal. It's 3 years. I think it's $185 million each. A fourth year for an option. They're going to be on some streaming services. AEW seems to still lose ratings, but what do you guys all think of the AEW contract finally being delivered?
First of all, good for them. They got a new contract, but this is really, I think, the make or break for AEW in this 3-year window. I think Time Warner, Warner Brothers, they're really interested in what they can do because we saw in the 5 years, they started off great. They went downhill. You even look at their 5th-year anniversary. Their biggest star, MJF, wasn't there. Ricochet and Ospreay, they put in a great match, but became a little bit of a circus at one point. Daniel Bryan Okada, great, but there was no interest. So it's like AEW, it's like they're doing the same tricks, but they're not willing to try something new. And I think the streaming is really going to be interesting for their pay-per-views. It will definitely help, but for the weekly shows, unless they can change some things around, unless a Shane McMahon shows up and take control back behind scenes, I don't think much is going to change for them. And I think from what I've read, Time Warner, Warner Bros., they actually have a stake in AEW now. So I think they might be pushing some things to change because it's not working for viewership and attendance. And on another note, their Australia show, ticket sales are going bad from what I heard.
So if they have now a stake in it, don't you think they'll want to make some changes?
But will Tony Khan let them? I think we look at the departure of Cody Rhodes.
But they paid a lot of money for the contract. It's $555 million they're giving out to AEW. Correct me if I'm wrong. $185 million a year.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for a product that's dropped. Barry, could you have imagined if our work performance for David Starobin dropped so much by 40% that he would have basically still paid us more money? He would, knowing David, he would have basically fired because he's so cheap.
You got paid. I didn't get paid. Remember that.
But you were living with David though. Big difference. You were living. He was helping the family. Remember that? David,
I still had stuff I had to buy.
But the difference was that you did still. He was doing something big for you. But obviously we digress from that. But the point is that AEW's ratings have dropped nearly 40% in the last 2.5 years, and So why would not Tony Khan let them make changes? Why wouldn't he? Shouldn't he let them make the changes?
The same reason he let CM Punk walk. I think it's the same reason he doesn't.
But CM Punk's different because of the locker room fight. Now he's been given a paycheck. Now am I missing something?
If you're Tony Khan, you got to do something at this point. You need help. You need help, and that's why a McMahon has been consulted. We know it's not Vince, but still, you know.
Wait, it's not Linda?
You never know. I mean, they like bringing back dinosaurs, so Linda might show up.
Is Linda even involved in wrestling? Is she out of wrestling?
Where? I don't know. APB. Where is Linda McMahon? But anyway,
legitimate question. I don't know.
Tony Khan needs help. Okay. The guy, like I said, he's a walking coin purse, but a finger on the pulse of what is relevant or what is actually needed in wrestling. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He's signing all these guys half cocked. I almost said something very bad, and I know it's a family show, but he's basically trying to be Captain Save a Contract for these guys who are being let go by WWE. I mean, I know they just brought in Shelton Benjamin. Apparently,
yep. Hurt Syndicate. Yep.
You know,
Bobby Lashley apparently signed there as well.
Bobby Lashley, Ricochet, all these guys, with the exception of Sting, like I talked about on my podcast, who's made an impact? No one. Certainly not Sasha Banks. Certainly not Adam Copeland, Edge. You know, no one. So the guy needs help in the worst way possible. And if going, hey, look, we're going to take a chance on you and we're going to throw a lot of money at you, so please deliver, isn't like the biggest kick in the ass ever, then I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah, I think it's the situation repeats itself. Let me get to some comments here. You want to say a little Yoshi Matsuda? He and I did an Instagram live. He was here this past Saturday, and he just had his Wrestling Zero PXW debut. I got a chance to watch most of the show earlier in the day. I enjoyed it a lot of really in-depth scenes there. Please support Mr. Matsuda. Yes, there's more evidence. It's on Instagram. I appreciate that. Yes, and we agree with the evidence, and we, thank you for them. And hello to Clan Leader Matsuda. CM Punk is the GOAT. Yes, CM Punk is one of the GOATs for sure. That's definitely the case, and that's why he's back in WWE. And so AEW deal doesn't really, you don't think it'll move the needle. But somebody mentioned Shane McMahon. Is he really going to be? I'm waiting on this. Is really going to be what
remains to be seen.
They've been teased. Like, I don't think the photo with him and the Young Bucks at the airport, that was a coincidence. Definitely that is staged. Like, he's going to AEW. If you watch the Vince McMahon documentary, Shane expressed how he really wanted to hit differences between Vince's were different. I think Shane never got that opportunity. I think Shane really wants to show, listen, I can run a wrestling organization. I just need the opportunity. And I think with AEW, and don't get me wrong, no one wants AEW to fail out there, because when we've seen in pro wrestling, when you have competition, wrestling's good. When there's no competition, it dries. We saw with WWE from 2002 to like 2000 for so many years. But they have to do something more than just that small niche of internet fans who want to see someone jump off a table, want to see blood all over the ring, want to see glass explosions.
I would think also with a 3-year contract, they're not going to renew if the ratings keep dropping. If the ratings keep dropping, it's like, Barry, if our work performance kept dropping, we would have eventually been let go. So the point is that, I mean, if the viewership continues to drop by year 3, they're not going to get renewed. And then what happens? They go out of business, so they have to sell the company. And Barry is going to make an amazing AEW candles. You would make amazing. Barry. I know I got to make the plug. Let me give Barry a big plug, because Barry's giving me the notes to read. Barry, thank you for that. Let me give you the plug. We got some new candles here from Amazing Candles. Let's pull them up here. I don't know, Barry. Why did you give me the? Oh, they got the wrong one here. Thanks, Barry. Barry, oh, we got the soundboard. Barry, do that again for the audience. We got the soundboard. Barry's got a soundboard. There it is, Barry. You gave me the wrong one, but we
That
have
was
some
crazy.
Okay, maybe I'm not going to do the plug then, Barry. Maybe, what was
That
that exactly? Barry, boy, what was that one again? What was that one?
That wasn't me.
That was you,
That was-
Barry, with the soundboard.
Evan.
Go do it again, Barry. Do it
That,
again.
that was someone right next to me. That was not me.
Oh, you have the co-host?
No.
Coming to a candle shop
can't
near
read.
you.
You said you had somebody out there. Ah, I see.
Crows,
Bird.
yeah.
You want to give me
Coming-
the bird, Barry?
Coming to a candle shop near you. Ricochet, Raspberry, and
Barry,
Adam
you wanted
Cone
to
put an
flip me
apple.
years ago with the bird. You wanted to flip me with the bird years ago. You did that years ago, Barry. You were flipping me off now. You're going to be, Barry, now we're going to know each other more than years ago. So now you're going to definitely want to flip me off together now that we're popular.
Sheesh.
Yeah, Barry's just, in his own world. But did you had somebody, there was somebody
yeah.
in the background before, Barry? Wasn't there
Oh, my
somebody in the
brother.
background?
Yeah, my brother.
So want to bring your brother on the screen or no?
He's not here now.
Well, where'd he go?
I sent him to the store.
Oh, okay. Does he have
Needs
a
more
bulletproof
wax.
vest? Does he wear a bulletproof vest when he goes out to the store where you live?
Hey, listen, he can wear what he wants.
You didn't get the reference, did you?
No, I did. Trust me.
Oh, he did. Do you
I got
wear a bullet? Now, Barry, where you live, do you wear a bulletproof vest where you go?
No.
No. Everybody
Definitely
knows
not.
you on Snyder.
Some people know me.
Yeah.
It's not like over there in Sheepshead Bay area. Everyone knows me over there.
Nah, they definitely knew you there in Sheepshead, but they wonder where you've been. But let me speak to people. Want to say hello to Mr. Chaotic. How we're doing? Doing great. Talking WWE, talking AEW, talking with my buddy Barry Gutman. And Barry is obviously the owner of Amazing Candles. He's also a hardcore Twitch streamer. He's a hardcore gaming 2120, and he's also got the laundry clean today. You got a big crowd here with us. A lot of people tuned in to hear you. They're all about Barry, but okay, we'll get into that. All right, anything else? Any final things on Bad Blood that we should know about going into tomorrow from anybody?
Well, not about Bad Blood, but Randy, how do you feel about them finally teasing the Motor City Machine Guns? Because if they wouldn't have done it tonight, I almost forgot about them.
At first, I was like, "Wait, what's going on?" But then put the 2 and 2. What the Motor City
Yeah.
Machine? I'm excited.
Me
I
too.
think on two fronts. One, with the whole thing happening right now with the Lucha Bro, the AEW, Tony
Oh,
Khan
man.
holding them hostage. And saying, I'm not going to hold wrestlers hostage.
FMC get attacked 6 months on the contract,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
exactly.
Liar.
And then Ray Felix had to come up saying, "Listen, I'm still under contract."
Yeah.
Kind of stuff going on him. But listen, those who watched TNA in the early days, the 2006-7, these guys are an amazing tag team. What they can do in the ring is a crazy. I think them going to the main roster help the tag team division. It's not weak, but it adds another element. I think the tag team division definitely dropped off in splitting up Jimmy and Jay, and I think the Motor City Machine Guns can definitely bring that vibe back. Like Alex and Shelley are just tremendous. And
But what's different than for them versus other guys that were outside talents that come into WWE for the first time in their career toward the twilight? What'll be different than them? AJ Styles tonight, right? Came back and somebody messaged me and said AJ Styles is almost like feels like he's going through the motions. What will be different with them versus other people that have come in this point in their career?
I think the big thing, Tom, was going to be different. That the thing Bobby Roode, a lot of these other TNA guys didn't have. There was no past relationship. Right now, we see the working relationship. Michael Cole was listing off some of the AJ Styles accomplishments during TNA. We never seen that before. I think this past relationship might be the thing when they bring in a past TNA guy who can help build them, can help get them used to them. You're not, because I think with AJ Styles, Samoa and Joe, you're just like, oh, these guys come on the main roster. You kind of talk about the history. Now they are, and I think it will add more to. It might get fans to think.
So it's
oh,
a different dynamic because of the relationship that TNA and WWE have.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to be like people are like, oh wait, I remember this in the Motor City Machine Gun doing this because it puts 2 and 2 together.
So we think then they'll be very exciting.
For sure. I think WWE has been starving for real tag team action. Like, I mean, they finally released something on the I almost did it too, Randy.
Uh-oh.
The Motor City Machine Guns tonight. They're teasing about the Viking Raiders, bringing them back. Everybody thought it was
That's going back for a while. Yeah, that's a good one.
Everybody thought it was Ray Phoenix and Penta, unfortunately, but Tony Khan's a wiener. So anyway, that's the term for him. He's when I look at him, I'm like Tony Khan, wiener. But anyway. I just think that WWE has been starving for some good tag teams for a while. And it's good to see them plugging a team like the Motor City Machine Guns. They could bring some hype. A lot of people were looking forward to it. Now, the only thing, like I said, I'm glad they did it now because they got in danger of being forgotten. Like, yeah. I remember the hype and them being talked about, and then for a while, just nothing. So I was like, okay, we're on the right page here. You know, I think we're headed in the right direction. I would love to see them used correctly. And like I said, and I've said before, don't forget, like Randy just pointed out, with the partnership being stronger than ever with TNA, you've still got the Hardys.
Yep.
And there's no way that you can convince me that the Hardys aren't going to try to finish their careers where they began in WWE.
Now or never, right? It's a now or never moment. I mean, these
100%.
guys, Motor City Machine Guns right there. You talked about the old days of TNA. That's now going on in 20 plus years. So you got to be pushing 40, 41, 42 years old. You got the Hardys, right? Obviously. So this is the moment that you're going to go out there and hopefully see what's to come. And that's Barry on Twitch. He's at 424 followers. Gain him. I'm losing followers. Get Barry to gain followers. But that's the trick. We'll put Barry on YouTube instead. I'll actually gain viewers than subscribers. But let me get to a couple things here. Yeah, teaser was good. He brought up his New Japan stuff as well. I think that was brought up right also in the thing. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Okay, so Motor City Machine Guns. That'll be exciting. First time out. WWE TNA relationship going well. Barry, what did you drink? I saw you had a drink before. What were you somebody you passed over something, Barry? Did you see what I'm talking about, Barry?
Just ginger ale.
Just ginger ale. So there was no vape infused ginger ale?
No, just ginger ale. No.
Wait till you meet Rob Moroska in a few minutes. He's got debts. Yes, and also here, let me say hello to President Zaddy. Salute, Rev. I would love to put you in all my video games I'm making. I appreciate that. Direct message me.
Yeah.
Hit the sub button for me. I lost subscribers in the last 24 hours. So help me gain them back. So that would appreciate that because I was at 942 subscribers. Now I'm at 935 subscribers. So thank you, President Zaddy. And yes, Barry's laughing because he's just laughing because Barry's the new co-host. But okay. All right. So we'll talk about that. Anything else wrestling wise? I'm going to bring the regular guys on here in a few minutes. Anything else wrestling wise I should know about?
Third TBK. I just think I don't know about you guys. Even like I know with the Rock with the rumor of the Rock returning, you got to kind of give Cody and Roman and Solo and Jake to the main event spot at Bad Blood. But I really feel Drew and Punk kind of got pushed out because listen, they've been building this thing since January when Punk got hurt and Drew just started off with a funny.
And we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary soon of Punk and WWE is returning.
And they've really been keeping this feud going with Punk being hurt, Drew kind of fighting for the title, and I do believe they should get the main event spot, but I understand with circumstance with The Rock, like you have to put him there.
Did you like Seth Rollins in his return recently?
I thought that was great.
Yeah, for sure. Unexpected.
Give Braun Strowman credit. He wrecked his knee up pretty good in that match, and he still put on a great last man standing match.
That's good. And Zilla would like to ask who's coming on the show tomorrow. We should have Brandon Castelli, who's wrestling in. Speaking of World Wars, he's actually wrestling for the DBW World Championship in World War. So he is here. Then Chase Wakefield is here the next day. So that's no, he's not here. So we have a different guest this Sunday. That's next Sunday. This Sunday we have a different one. But Brandon's here tomorrow stay tuned on. So I think Xavier Thorne's back on Sunday, so that's a different show for a different time. But okay, so just thank you, Zilla, for that. Yes, he's back. He got a birthday today. Happy birthday to Xavier Thorne. Xavier Thorne's celebrating a birthday. He is wishing, he wants to have a happy birthday wish. We'll give it to him. Barry, I got to plug Amazing Candles before we move on and get to the rest of the guys. So I got all the ingredients here. So we got, it's bright green. I don't know what did you put in bright green first of all. So I got bright green on the Amazing Candles. I got fresh red. I got grape violet. I got orange. I got coffee color. Light green. What's the difference between bright green and light green again?
You're telling them all about the dyes and stuff. That's just.
I thought that was the candle flavors.
No, the candle flavors are Halloween flavors and sweet flavors.
Wait a minute. Oh, flavors. You're not eating them, are
There's
you?
a whole bunch. I wish I could. That's how good they smell and stuff. No, these are all scents.
Oh, I got the scented one. I should have it right here. Well, it's not reading, but okay.
This one tastes like pumpkin.
They're not pulling up, Barry. They're not pulling up.
Oh my god!
There we go. Okay, I got them here. Thank you, Barry. So we got peppermint. We got rose, right? Peppermint and rose. We got jasmine, right? Is it jasmine? I saw. We got scent. What else we got here? We got rose again. We got lavender, right? Lavender and lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good ones, Barry. I think Mom is loving this. Hello to Magnum.
I hear her laughing in the background. Trust me.
Barry, I got a suggestion for you. Should totally have a Magnum Carter candle. I'd buy that out of stock. We're gonna not say the last part, but new hardwood floors. Thank you. New hardwood floors. Barry, do we have a hardwood floor scent for the candles?
No, but someone wanted a trash can last night.
There was somebody on the stream said they wanted a trash. Maybe they were Chelsea Green on the stream.
Yeah, they didn't watch SmackDown because no one.
I think we had Chelsea Green on Sportswire instead because they really wanted a trash scent from Barry. I really wanted him to do that.
Sorry, that's not happening. I'm going to stick with my Halloween ones.
That's a good one, Barry, because I still got to get one this weekend. Wishing a happy birthday to Xavier Thorne. I hope he is having a wonderful day. I hope he enjoys his birthday weekend with family, friends, and fans. He's got. Was that you, Barry?
Nope.
That was you, Barry. That was you. Barry's laughing. We've got a soundboard on Sportswire. Sorry, giant hands and tiny phone. Okay. Well, hit the sub button for me. I'd appreciate that. Okay. All right. So we'll have to see. Barry, this is just comical. Yeah. Really comical, but Barry's really just
Okay, I got a question for you, Randy. How are we feeling about the Wyatt Six? Where do they go? Obviously, now they've been having dark matches with American Made, but on the actual product, they're teasing things with Braun Strowman. So where do they go next?
The Y6 is a very, very interesting situation on where they go. Like,
isn't it?
You need a group for them to go out. Now, obviously, like if they're on SmackDown, lost Phantasma, but they've just been blah. It would be interesting. So the Y6 maybe in the Bloodline story, just because there's some history with Roman and Bray Wyatt, how Roman took the title from Bray. But I think you need kind of a group to go after them. Like I think the next group kind of would have been the Karrion Kross AOP group, and with the Miz joining, I think that might be interesting.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like there's so much confusion. And I'll state it. I'm a Bray Wyatt mark. I'm an Undertaker mark, but Undertaker has nothing to do with this, but I just wanted to say it. They've made advances towards the Judgment Day. They've made advances towards Xavier Woods.
Yep. The Wood situation, I'm still waiting. What's the payoff on the Wood?
When are you going to hit Kofi with the chair?
What is the
payoff? Why have we not done that yet?
Well, because a lot of people are sitting there going, is it going to be Xavier or is it going to be Kofi? And honestly, I don't know. Kofi's been a face for so long, but tell me right now that it wouldn't be an ultimate swerve and surprise that if
Kofi's one of those guys like Rey Mysterio, like
I-
Sting.
you're
I
right,
can't see
you're
Kofi
right.
being a heel.
You're right.
Like
You're
when
right.
Sting
You're
turned
absolutely
heel,
right.
When Sting turned heel, it was people were like, I never forget. Turned heel, then it was like a month later. Okay, we got to push him back, and then even in TNA, he was a heel, but it was like.
But I
never
was telling you guys, and I said this before. I said the one thing that I don't want to see happen is confusion. The Wyatt Six, you've got to give them a clear cut direction, or it ruins it. It ruins the mystique. And right now, like I said, Braun Strowman, the looming possibility of Alexa Bliss returning very, very soon. What are we doing?
I don't know.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
It's just a group that is so mystique that they can do some really great work, but you have to find the right piece for them. And I just feel like they don't know where that right piece. Like Chad Gable, America Made was great, I think, starting up, but now I think the Judgment Day would be maybe another. He would be good because I think one they'll share, make Dom crap himself, which would be pretty funny on TV. But
well, we don't want a Sid moment, right? Where Sid craps.
I just think that honestly, you should keep it. If you're honoring Bray, then it should make sense with the people that Bray had history with. And if you look at the people that Bray had history with, Rob, how you doing? You're going to tell us people who died to. I'm doing good.
We got a new co-host, my buddy Barry from way back in the day. He's got a soundboard, and he's the new co-host. Big Barry Gutman.
Hey, and Rob, I don't know if Tom's going to kick me off when you guys get into sports, but
probably yeah.
Okay, well, that's honest. I appreciate the honesty.
Well, that's how it goes.
No. Hey,
I'm going to talk Mets. I'm going to be all Mets probably. That's
hey.
Sorry about the Orioles.
No,
yeah, that's why I don't think you want to stay on. You want to talk about the Orioles into the Royals? I mean, come on.
I don't care. I'll talk
about it. I know, but you know.
Okay. Look, just real quick, Rob. If it can't be my Orioles, I am impressed that you guys are the dark horse. And if you guys make it all the way, good on you. So go Mets. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Chris,
President Daddy, by the way, puts the Astros with a sad face. The Astros, who everybody was like, Astros are going to go to the World Series, and the Astros were bounced up by the Tigers. I mean, who would have guessed the Tigers? By the way, the Tigers just. When was the last time the Tigers lost? I mean, and
I don't know.
Hello, Stoners Lounge podcast. But I think Barry's connection for us. Thank you, Stoners Lounge. And subscribed off that. Thank you. Yes, subscribe. I lost subscribers. So for reasons that were out there. But yeah, we'll definitely talk baseball in a minute. But
anyway, like I said, I will give credit where credit's due. If it has to be somebody, the Mets have had a comeback story, so go Mets.
Oh, the Mets. I mean, it's like the Mets play games, and it's like a lifetime of games. They play.
How come not the Yankees? How come you don't root for the Yankees?
Are you what?
Orioles, man. He's not rooting for the Yankees.
What do you
I remember. Sorry, I remember you were talking.
You know why?
The Mets, how bad the Mets were in the turnaround. It's pretty impressive.
I know. We were on Sportswire, and it was like Barry's a Yankees
impressive.
fan, so I know where Barry's going with this. We didn't even want to talk about. I was like, for 2 months, we're not talking about the Mets, and all of a sudden in August, it was like, okay, well, the Mets are relevant, and then. Even like Monday, they're playing the Braves. The game is over. They have the lead. Diaz doesn't cover first base. The game is over. Lindor hits a home run, and then, they have a wildly turn of events.
Just to show that I'm not, a straight up shit talker. The only Yankee that I've ever had complete and total respect for is Derek Jeter.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can totally respect that man. We won't talk about A-Rod. but anyway, I'll wrap it up for you here, Tom. Randy, like we were talking about the Wyatt Six, man, I just hope they don't lose direction because it's so important. Bray's story was cut way too short because of reasons. I hope they don't fumble. I really don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Zilla does want to say, actually, Zilla, you're a sports fan. We got Chris and Rob, the New York MLB talk guys. We're going to talk about that, but I don't think they're going to talk soccer guys. Though Chris likes MLS, but all right, let's get to the closing thoughts. Randy, I'm going to go with you first. Anything else you want to say? I know hockey started today. Devils were in action and overseas, and hockey's back. I know you'll be back soon with the hockey fan chat, and I want to give you the floor. And anything else you want to plug, share, or say?
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, Bad Blood should be good tomorrow, but again, weird start time, so there'll be a lot of different opinions. On a hockey note, Jaromir Jagr finally announced his retirement at age 50, so definitely something big.
As far as I'm concerned, his career ended after the Islanders-Panthers playoff series in 2016. That was the last series. I was like, okay, he's any relevant of a player, but I know he played 2 more years and played 7 more years, overseas. He was like the Ricky Henderson of the NHL.
But it's just like Yarmer, he just finally decided to put it up, which I just think I thought he was gonna play till 60, to be honest, or some old men's league where with a walker or something or assist. But anyways, hockey starts. We're gonna have some hockey fan chats coming up. It's gonna be a really interesting season with wrestling. Just quickly on NXT debuted on CW. What a show it was! I thought Julia and Roxanne, great
Very
match.
strong rating, yep.
Trick Williams, Ethan Page, great. I was a little upset Ethan Page lost, but I'm excited to see what the future holds. But wrestling right now is still on fire. A lot of great options out there to watch, not just AEW. You got
and then watch it on Sportzwire. I got 1,000 views in 3 days for obvious reasons. But actually, other shows, Abraham Storm, we got 100-something views. It was at 6:00 in the evening. People were like, all right, I'll tune in. They were waiting for me to say something. But yeah, the last even 3 days on Sports, we had 1,000+ views on YouTube.
No, exactly. But just enjoy the ride, is that what we say. But Absolutely. If you want to hear more of my opinions, hockey, wrestling, follow me on Twitter, as Tom showed, at Randy Dillon, DHILLON. For my hockey take, I'm hoping Ovechkin can break the record. He's 43 goals away. We'll see what he can do this year.
I'll do it next season for sure. 43, yeah, he could. He's got a shot. I'm going to go with you next, TBK. I'm going to put your Instagram up. But before anything, yes, I would like to get to 1,000 subs. I'm still very close to I'll get there. It's just a matter of when. But yes, please, I appreciate that. I have a lot of people that really would like me to get to 1,000. So I definitely thank you for that. Let me give you the floor, TBK. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say? I pass the baton to you.
As always, thanks for having me on. Hey, that's my setup.
Put it up there.
Yeah, appreciate that. But for the sports guys, Chris and Rob, I'm not surprised about the Orioles. I pretty much called what was going to happen. It's unfortunate, but once again, for Orioles fans, it's see you next year. So
yeah,
at this point,
I can't figure out the Royals though. The team that basically also kind of walked into the playoffs almost with injuries, and they back into the playoffs.
You could say we did too. We absolutely. I mean, it was great for the team to have.
The Giants swept the Royals down the stretch, like the Giants swept Kansas City. I kind of was like, that's why that one kind of caught me off guard a little bit, to be honest.
I just don't know how long we're going to be able to ride the. It's a young team. Look, we had guys who absolutely showed out this year. We had guys who stepped up, but once again, when it matters, we couldn't produce straight up. And that's why we're sitting on the couch and the Royals are continuing. Now, as Thomas said, the Be More Talkative podcast is back. We have a guest lined up down the pipeline. I won't say who it is because it's kind of a surprise. This guy, from what I know, doesn't do a lot of podcasts, but he has agreed to be on mine. So I'm very excited to get to know him more. And if the podcast comes to fruition, you're going to want to tune in and listen. And now, real quick, I don't know if Tom's probably going to kick me off, and that's fine. But while I'm here, okay, while I'm here with Rob and Chris, I had said last week that Joe Burrow is overrated. Now, he got a win. The Bengals are 1-3. Okay. This is a big game. The Ravens had an immaculate showing against the Bills. And this is the Ravens' identity. If anybody knows, it's me. We have a propensity for showing out against teams that we should not show out against, and for folding against teams that we should not fold against. So I want to know, while I'm here, what do you guys think about this matchup coming up on Sunday?
Oh, I think it's going to be a really good game. I think, listen, Cincinnati, I think it's going to come in playing a little bit more desperate, right? Because they need to win more than anybody, right? They're 1-3, so they need a victory. They obviously won last week. They beat Carolina, big deal, right? But I think, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, not much of a shocker there, but
Right.
I think this is a big week for them, bigger than Baltimore. Even though Baltimore, they started off slow, obviously a little bit too, but Baltimore does look a lot better right now. I mean, their running game is great.
Right back. He's barely right back. Guys.
Derrick Henry. I mean, that's why I was saying to you guys before. I was like, if with the games that we had prior, okay, you sign a guy like Derrick Henry. If you're not going to use him the way that he's known for being used, then why did you let go of Gus Edwards? Because Gus Edwards was responsible for more than most of our touchdowns last season. But guess what happens? Todd Monken, freaking John Harbaugh finally wake up and go, hey, we have Derrick Henry on our team. and the first play of the game on offense, Derrick Henry, 87 yards.
Yep.
Can the Bengals stop Derrick Henry?
Right. That's going to be the big thing. I think with last year with the Ravens, with their running game, I think those guys got hurt a lot too, right? Gus Edwards. Who else was hurt?
J.K. Dobbins, for sure.
He's hurt all the time too.
Always.
So I think they wanted a guy that they could count on all season long and not worry about, all right, this guy's going to play 3 or 4 games and then get banged up. They know Derrick Henry's a horse, right? That guy's going to be there week in, week out. He is getting a little bit older, but he's not showing his age.
He's not showing it. He's not showing it.
Some guys just have the fountain of youth.
But what I would do, though, is try to lessen Derrick Henry's carries throughout the year to keep him fresher, later on. And for those December games where you're really going to have to, pound the rock 20 times, 25 times with this guy, and the playoffs, obviously, to take a little bit of pressure off of Lamar Jackson, because he's the guy that's got to do it, right, in January. Forget about during the season. You know the deal. They'll be fine. They're probably going to win the division this year. I think they're going to pass Pittsburgh.
Let me ask you real quick before I get off of here.
Because I got 2 minutes on this, because I got to get to baseball. I got to get to Robin.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. How are we feeling about the slow start for Mark Andrews?
You know what? I think they're phasing in Isaiah Likely a little bit more. And again, getting back to the injuries, right? Mark Andrews gets hurt a lot. So I think they're trying to lean on maybe Isaiah Likely a little bit more than they are Andrews. I think Andrews is still going to be in the game plan throughout the year, but just not as much as we've seen.
Fair enough.
All right, we'll certainly see. Obviously, Ravens, huge, start for them. We'll see what happens with the rest of this division. Good stuff, TBK. Appreciate you. Definitely see you next week. Randy, looking forward to you next week as well. And we'll definitely talk for sure with the guys. That's their story. They're sticking to it. Joey Bosham says Ravens win 34-30. Could definitely see all that here and some. So we appreciate that. Joey Bosham's here. And we bring you two gentlemen, of course, the host of the New York MLB Talk. That is, of course, Rob Moroska, clean-shaven Rob Moroska. And where are you coming from, Rob? You're coming from somewhere, right? You were running to Sportswire tonight. I'm like, yeah, we're going live. We're going to do a regular show. I know I didn't get a chance to announce it, but it's been a wild.
He shaved right before he jumped on.
Well, it's good for you. I mean, I've had a wild last 48 hours. I did 4 Instagram lives. I did 3 streams. A lot of stuff out there. I'll talk about it off the air, but we're past it.
Hardest working man out there, right now.
I lost subscribers because I'll talk about it off the air, but I think people were happy. But I did the right thing, I think what I presented out there, but water under the bridge. Everything's good. No issues with us. But speaking of wild weeks, and what a wild week in the world of New York playoff baseball. Rob Maresca, I'm surprised you are here with us, considering your heart. I mean, have you checked your blood pressure? Have you checked your heart rate lately? Because with you, I mean, I thought, Howie Rose's call about Pete Alonso hitting a home run. I thought Rob Maresca, I would see you basically in the obituary of the Staten Island Advance if they could have afforded that for you.
Nah, I'm gonna
too expensive
I'm gonna
for
stay
you.
alive to watch it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to afford that obituary though. But go ahead, Rob. How you doing?
But when Alonso hit that home run last night, my dog was on the couch. He's used to me yelling.
Buddy, right?
But yeah, the new cat was sleeping.
Well, Barry was coming on about a cat too. We'll talk about Barry's cat in a minute. But go ahead.
And when Alonso hit that and I went nuts, the cat actually did one of those flips that you see on the Twitter videos where the cat jumps, flips, and runs.
Mm-hmm.
So that was funny. But listen, what a week from that doubleheader with the Braves we talked about on our show, after that doubleheader. Unbelievable. Lindor, twice in 1 week, the Mets come back and win with a home run. It was just amazing. And Alonso's home run was the first time in Major League Baseball in the playoffs, in the postseason, that happened, a winning home run like that. So it was just amazing. But I just have to say one thing. How many Met fans thought they were at that point dead? Okay.
Justin Gianelli, who's not here, was like, Alonso, I can't sign him. I got to get rid of him. And then Ernest was like, the next minute, 10 years, $300 million. I mean, but that's sports in general. No, listen, that's so sports in general. You can't, sports is an emotional thing. You can't, that's just how it goes.
Of course. But I'm telling you, there's something about this team. They're not hit. They didn't hit in Atlanta for most of the game, last night for most of the game, and they end up winning. It was
what was the stat the last 3 weeks? It's six games with 5 runs or more in an inning or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's just that's a crazy stat. It's just been a crazy weekend. The Mets move on, and they're going to play the Phillies. And listen, the Mets actually got that off of their back when they won 3 out of 4 against the Phillies at Citi Field. So they're not going in this series, with the Phillies in their heads.
Well, that goes back, a lot of people thinking we're joined with Chris Pizzaia and Rob Maresca of the New York MLB Talk, which you'll hear throughout the weekend on sportswireradio.org, that the Mets season turned around in London.
Yeah.
People say
the second game. Yeah, the
London.
Second game of that series, definitely against the Phillies. That's when it turned around. I've said that a couple of times. That's when it just started to work, and since then it's just it's like magic again.
I changed the logo, by the way. I changed the logo since we're not talking wrestling right now. But go ahead.
But listen, Quintana last night, you can't ask more out of a starting pitcher.
Well, the Met pitching staff, Manaya, you look at what Peterson did coming out of the bullpen. You talked about Quintana. I mean, these guys just, bang up job by this Met team and what they were able to
even
put
Sevy,
together.
Right? That first game, I know he got hit a little bit early on, but once he settled in, he was fine. I mean, that was huge because if he gets taken out early in the game, that messes up the whole.
I got to ask you guys. You guys have been baseball fans. You guys are experts in this. Have you seen something like this with a New York baseball where a team just is that? I mean, I know we saw the Yankees in the 90s, but I can't think of a team this resilient, at least in my lifetime. And again, I'm not a baseball analyst, but I mean, I just haven't seen something like this in New York where this Met team has been counted out so many times, and yet here we are. It's the Mets and Phillies in the divisional series. And if you look at these wild card teams, we saw what the Diamondbacks and the Phillies did the last 2 years. This Met team, they could have a shot. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but there's just some people that, might want to pick them for whatever reason. Have we seen this before in New York baseball?
I'll say, you know what, with the Yankees, nothing like this, but the closest thing I seen was 2000, right? When they weren't picked right, to do anything. They kind of backed into the world.
Lost 13
playoff.
games in a row to end the season. Yep.
Yeah, and then they beat the A's after losing the first 2. They came back and won the 3 games. You know, the flip play by Jeter and all that. And then beating Seattle. Seattle had the best record and all that stuff. They beat them in the playoffs. And then 2001, you know, the World Series, you know, the 3 games in New York in the 2001 World Series was just amazing. They didn't win the World Series, but those 3 games, you know, hitting the home run with 2 outs in the 9th inning in back-to-back nights, that's the closest I've seen. But what the Mets have done is just unreal. And you know what? It hasn't ended yet either. So we don't know what else.
But even just to have them, just to have the team, the way their season was, they were like 22-34.
Yeah.
You know, even going into like in August, I remember the Mets were almost like 4.5, 5 games back in the wild card. And it was like the way they were positioned with the road schedule and such that this team was, you know, going nowhere really. And then, you know, it obviously ends up that we're here. We got Wolfman Jack here, Justin Gianelli in the house. But you know,
a little late.
yeah, well, that's okay. Barry will be here as well. But you know, look, it's a Met team that they were counted out so many times, and even in the last week, you know, you look at it, they get a gift because Arizona loses to San Diego, so the Mets get a chance to win the last game of the regular season. And then the Atlanta game was what it was on Monday. But then the irony of this is they play Milwaukee again 3 times. You know, can you think of a situation where a team plays 6 times against a different team in a road building and the Mets are the team that advances? This honestly should have been ending either the Mets not even making the playoffs or the Mets just getting bounced out and blown out of the water against the Brewers because of the familiarity. Milwaukee, all they had to do was sit. They already played the Mets, and they beat them the 2 games in Milwaukee. And the Mets were 0-5 against the Brewers going into that last game of the regular season. So think about that for a second. Look at all this that this Met team. I know we'll get to the Yankees, but I find that very fascinating. In New York baseball history, has there been a team like this one?
Well, even last year, too. Didn't Milwaukee own the Mets last year, too?
I know, but the Mets didn't go anywhere last year. This year,
I'm saying that they've had like a little bit of a streak here where the Brewers have handled the Mets, you know, the last couple of seasons.
It's been a long time streak. The Mets can't.
If I'm not mistaken, the Mets are 4-20 in their last 24 games at American Family Field.
Well, they won 3 of the last 4, so that's obviously gotten 3 wins out of the 4, and 2 of them were in the postseason against the Brewers team. I would have picked them to win this series because the Mets didn't even have a chance to go out. They played, was it 5 games in 4 days? Something like that. You know, just crazy stuff.
They really had no rest. They really were able to just plowed right through. They traveled from Atlanta, to the Hurricane to Milwaukee,
then back to Atlanta, and then back to Milwaukee,
and right back to Milwaukee for the first game on Tuesday.
And I'm going to get to some comments here. We're joined by Barry Gutman, my new co-host. Barry, which cat have we got against? A tiger poo? Barry's bringing the cat vote out for us.
This is Chunky Monkey.
Oh, Chunky Monkey. Barry's the owner of Amazing Candles. So if you've joined it, Barry's bringing more cats out there. Barry.
That's tiger poo.
Barry, are you sure about bringing cats in and co-hosting at the same time? Can you do that?
I could do a lot of things at once.
Barry, what do you think about the Mets right now? The Mets and Yankees. What's your thoughts on them?
I'm not talking about the Mets. Yankees.
Why not?
Yankees is my team. I'm sorry.
So when we get to the Yankees, do you want to talk about the Yankees?
I haven't watched the Yankees for a while, but
we'll talk about them.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the cat vote in a minute. Yeah. Okay. So let me run through the chat first. We'll come back to the Mets. Howie Rose did a great job on the call yesterday, right? We agree on that. Howie was good.
Oh yeah. A+ call.
Pete Alonso was ground. He thought Pete Alonso was grounding into a double play.
I mean,
I was going to ask all you guys on this. Now, what do you think happens now with Pete Alonso? That was a free agent. What do you think happens now after that home run? The Mets have to sign him no matter what, or how does that?
Listen, here's what I think.
All right.
First, we have to see what happens with the rest of the playoffs. Did this get hit? You know, he was in his own head. That's what the problem is. He's put a lot of pressure on himself.
I mean, brutal in this series. He was brutal.
So, did this? Now, is he going to be more relaxed against Philadelphia? Is this the streak that we've been waiting for? Is this going to be the beginning? We have to see what happens in Philadelphia. and take it from there. Listen, last night nobody had any confidence in him. No one.
No.
I don't care. There's going to be people saying, "Oh yeah, I know." No,
I gotta be
nobody
honest.
had
I
confidence.
got up out of my chair and I was like, Alonso. I mean, I wasn't like Justin. He's a total dud, but I was like, he ain't really gonna hit a 3-run homer. I mean, I wasn't. I
No,
didn't.
Everybody
I
was
didn't-
doing that, Tom.
Yeah, I didn't have any
You're probably not
confidence
alone.
because, especially with
That's
with
the
Deck
first
and
time in
Williams.
MLB history. That's the first time in MLB history, right? Was that the 3-run
Yeah, I
homer?
said that before. Yes, yeah.
Like, unbelievable stat. I would have thought Barry would have accomplished that, but that's just, So you think that this doesn't have any bearing on his contract situation then?
No, I don't. I didn't say that. I don't know.
It
what's
didn't hurt
gonna
it,
happen.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I was. Well, Mike, what I was
Didn't
getting
hurt.
at is no matter what happens, that one moment you now have to basically give him or open up the truck.
Listen, I don't know if they're going to open up the truck, but let's just make this point with this one. If he didn't hit that home run, and if he struck out, or if he hit it in double play, whatever, and that was the end of his Mets career and his legacy, that would have been horrible. Him hitting that home run saved, that's all they would have remembered.
Right.
They wouldn't remember all the home runs he hit. They wouldn't remember all that. They would just remember that he did nothing in the in the playoffs this year. He was a bust. This year he did not have a good year, and that's what they would remember. Now he hit one of the biggest home runs in New York Met history.
Absolutely, that's a
And
major.
if you think about it, he was really a non-factor in the 2022 wild card agan't San Diego. He really was a
Yes.
non-factor in that series.
Mhm.
So that would have been 2 playoff examples for Pete Alonso that would not have ended well for him, and it would have cost him millions of dollars. And he got and he had the moment, and he came through last night.
He definitely.
Someone's
did.
going to give him. Listen, someone's going to back the truck up, like Tom said. Someone is going to do it. Is it going to be the Mets? I'm really not sure if they will do it, but somebody will give him money because the guy is still a proven home run
30
hitter.
plus home runs, 50 home run guy
I mean,
twice.
he's not going to hit you for average, but he's going to hit
But
you.
nobody in
35, 40
baseball hits
homers.
for average like they used to. Nobody
Right.
hits for baseball on average.
But
And his
somebody
defense
is
is
going to
gotten
pay
better.
him. Someone's going to pay him.
Someone
And
will, yeah.
They're already. You're hearing the Cubs want to. The Cubs want to open up the.
Well, the
vault
Cubs
for
had
him.
they didn't have a great offseason. That kind of makes sense.
Maybe
a
the
little bit.
Mariners. The Mariners need a bat.
Mariners need
We
offense.
know that.
I would think the San Francisco Giants always need offense.
They've been trying to spend their money for the last.
They always
3
try to
years.
spend.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe
No one
maybe
wants
how about the Sacramento Athletics?
They won't spend.
Yeah, they're not spending that kind of money.
It was a joke.
Let
Barry,
me say one thing. Let me say one thing real quick.
I got to get to
The
comments.
thing is, if Steve Cohen wants Alonso, the Mets will keep him. Because
Yes.
if he really wants him, he's not going to let anybody
Well, I was
outbid
watching
him.
the post
No way.
game. I watched the post game after I got off yesterday on
Yeah.
Sportswire. It seemed like to me, Steve Cohen wanted Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
It seemed like he wanted him.
Sure, listen, he's homegrown Met star. The
We
fans,
haven't
no
had
matter
many
what,
of them in Met
And he's the most
history.
popular Met, right?
Oh, by
Yeah,
far.
right now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm Nimmo.
Lindor-
I think
Lindor's
Nimmo's
pushing
up
that
there.
envelope right now.
I think Nimmo's up there, and I think
Now,
Lindor is
Nemo as well,
definitely.
of course.
I think Lindor
Yeah,
for a lot of
Lindor's-
Met fans is very popular right now.
Yeah.
I think Lindor.
But
the
he's
Mets
up
have
there,
some
right? He's
popular
either one or
players.
two. I would think. I would
Yeah,
say.
good point. I want to say hello to our friends in Roseburg, Oregon for BTW. The BTW guys are here next Monday, not this Monday because my birthday is Monday. You're welcome to be on the chat, everybody, to come on the stream and say hello. That's me and Barry. But once upon a time, before we were famous YouTubers, that's me and Barry. Now, Barry, I got more hair. You got less hair since then, Barry. How do you feel about that?
I remember when you looked like that.
You don't remember Barry, though. Barry doesn't remember, though. Barry now remembers because Barry and I are the new team. We're the A team, Barry. Yes, Lindor walk was huge. Yes, Atomic Titan, Joshua Allen, and Craven Rage are not on the show. They're not coming back. And thank you, Zilla. Yes, that's an obvious conversation for the different topic where you are talking baseball. We've got that out of our system. But thank you for that, Zilla. This Met team has a lot of magic. What a run. Yeah, even if this team doesn't win the series, it's an amazing run.
Yeah.
And Hillbilly Tilly's in the house. Obviously, my buddy from AWL. He's their general manager in Alabama. I'm not sure if he's a baseball fan, but if he is, I would imagine he's a Braves fan. My condolences on the Braves. Hi to Justin. How you doing? Zilla's hanging out with sports. Zilla is awesome. Zilla's our resident chatter. She is everywhere. She's a legendary chatter. She's in every wrestling stream. She's in all my streams. How does the Alonzo?
Does Zilla ever show her face?
He did actually. There was an Instagram live with a very well-known wrestler in the backyard, Jack Delta. He's kind of like the Bret the Hitman Hart of the backyard wrestling circuit. He's that respected. She showed up on his stream on Instagram. She actually showed her face and everything. Yes, he's like the Bret Hart of backyard wrestling. That's just how good he is. He's like the same personality.
The best there is, the best there was, the best.
He wouldn't say that, but that's his stick basically.
Okay.
But, yes. That's a good question, though. Where does the Alonzo home run rank in Met history? I mean, I know Barry's obviously right.
Rob goes back a little further than all of
Rob
us.
goes back to like 1961.
He's the best guy to ask.
Rob goes back to like before the Met.
Right. Listen, it's in the it's up there. I'll tell you, Agbiani. You see, people forget about that home run. There was the Mets. That's one thing about the Mets. They haven't had many big postseason hits, but the ones that they have been.
I would think Ventura, right? The grand single, technically.
Grand single by Ventura.
Ventura. I was there for that one. That was, talk about Shea Stadium shaking. How's this go? This is right up there with those. With
the
those
Todd Pratt home run, right?
Todd Pratt.
Yeah, Todd Pratt. I was there for that one too. Another time. Against the Diamondbacks,
was it the series with the Dodgers? Right, the Mets have one in the Dodgers series in 2015.
Well, Murphy went nuts.
Yeah, Murphy.
Murphy
it wasn't one big
Murphy home run every bat.
That's my point.
It was just Murphy.
And of course, even though it wasn't in postseason, Piazza's home run, of course.
We're talking postseason. I think if you look at it, the Mets don't have much postseason home runs. I mean, where have the Mets been in the postseason? 11 times? 11 times, I think, right? 60,
but they've had big ones. The ones they've had have been big.
69, 73, 86,
73, 86, 80,
99, 2000, 2006, 15, 16, 22, 24. So we're talking 6, 7, 9, 11. 11
and think about it. The year that they won the World Series in 86, there wasn't a big home run.
It was not that big home run that you remember.
Listen, that team just knew. I mean, not only did they come back, they did come back a lot in '86. I mean, I was at Shea all the time. That team was just that team was just tough, and those guys knew they were going to win, and they were When you talk about a badass team, that team, the 1986 Mets, were a badass team. They fought. They were crazy, but they were fun.
That's like Barry, where he lives right now.
Going to Shea Stadium on a Friday night when Doc Gooden was pitching was an event. So that team, that
was also amazing. A big disappointment, right? Like there should have been more.
There should have been more
from that team.
Oh, you're definitely right. I was there '88 when Gooden gave up that home run against the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Was it Mike Scioscia that hit the home run?
Scioscia, I tell you, it was freezing and. That just knocked the air out of everybody. That's that, and when Piazza's home run died in the 2000 World Series. Which
right,
Chris. Those were two of the worst moments I had.
I went like that. As soon as he hit,
That's like Rob was yesterday. So, Rob, you sure you didn't check your blood pressure?
and when Beltran just stood there for the third strike. That was another one.
Well, the Beltran one, I was in college for that one. That was like
I was at Shea Stadium.
I went to my government class the next day, and I remember this kid. His name was Mark, I think, and it was like making fun of the Mets, and it was like, so that was kind of how it goes with there. But let me get to one more comment. Yes, I'm sorry you were on that call. I can't help that. You have to move on. Barry, it's funny. Rob is so old. He's even older than former state senator Marty Golden. I'm just kidding. He's not technically. Me and Barry have an insight. That's one of somebody we knew who's a corpse, basically. But that's a different. No, he's not a corpse. But it was a joke. But that's fine. But okay. I mean, so. All right, so we'll go to the Yankees in a minute. So where do you think this team matches up then going into Saturday against the Phillies? If all this emotional run, what do you think their chances are?
They have a good chance because what happened against the Phillies at Citi Field. Listen, anything could happen now on the other show.
Are the Phillies, do you think the Phillies? I have a question for anybody here. Do the Phillies have an advantage though because they had almost a week's rest? How do you think that works in these series?
Or
I feel like that hasn't really worked for teams, and this is the third year that they instituted this wild card series, and I feel like it really has actually hurt the team that has had the layoff. You're seeing a lot of these teams that play in the wild card series have a little more advantage and a little more momentum.
Yeah. They're sharp. They've been playing. They haven't.
And why are they? Can I ask you guys a question? Do you guys know, like, why'd they wait till Saturday? Why don't you play tonight?
Yeah, I was talking to somebody today about that. Why? Wouldn't you want to play Friday? Here's my thing. Wouldn't you want to play Friday, Saturday, because the NFL's Sunday, so that way you have the travel day? Because you don't want to.
I'm going to tell you
they wanted the day off between the series.
But you can have that anyway, though.
But you know what? The
Yankees rain out. You got to worry if there's rainouts in the stadium.
But there ain't rainouts in the forecast though for the Mets and Phillies.
The Yankees are playing one game and then off, and then one game and then off. I don't understand.
It makes no sense.
Well, I think what they did. I think what happened was they bunched up all the game ones tomorrow, and then on Sunday they made only the National League game 2s.
Yeah,
and then Monday's the American League game 2s.
That's goofy.
And then it's a travel day, so the NL's off, and they play on.
I don't understand. Game 1 of the American League or National League should have been Friday night, and then game 1 Saturday, the other league, or just start everybody Friday. Unless,
but they had games scheduled for yesterday. Now it worked out that 3 of the 4 series were sweeps, and yesterday became an off day for a lot of teams.
Right,
but for the playoff teams, but they had it set where it was Tuesday, Wednesday. You get an off day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday wild card. Friday off day, Saturday game 1.
Yeah,
which is the most fair for the wild card team to get rest.
Right.
Well, the Mets needed the travel day, but to me, the Yankees and the Guardians, they could have played today.
Yeah, I agree,
but they didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
So.
I mean, but then again, could MLB have flexed it after realizing that the 2 American League games were sweeps and ended Wednesday?
I would just think that the NFL and MLB going against each other would be a losing proposition for Major League Baseball. I would think that's a losing proposition for Major League Baseball to go up against the NFL. You don't agree?
Yeah, no, and I'm okay with that. But that's why I thought they should start Friday night and then play Saturday and then take off Sunday. That's your travel day.
Agreed.
Go back,
That's my point. Barry, do you think in sports that teams should be off like a week? Do you think they should just keep playing? What do you think, Barry?
They should be off for a week.
Oh, you should. So why do you think they should be off a week, Barry?
Sure.
Why do you think not sure? So what would be your reason?
Listen, I have no words for baseball right now. I really.
Barry's making candles for us, man. Barry's going to be great for us, Barry. We're going to be a great team together. The ratings are up.
Are they going to have the Sportswire logo on it, or?
If we could, Tom could tell me to get some stickers for that.
We could do that. Yeah,
we could work it out.
All right.
Barry is funny. We'll get to baseball in a minute back, but we were doing a show yesterday, and there was a woman that requested a trash scented candle. It was just
no, a trash candle, but in a trash can.
Well, that's why she was friends with you, I suppose. I don't know, but let's move on.
So a mini trash can with a candle in it.
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
We needed a scorecard. Listen. I had 46 people on my YouTube live on Wednesday, but not for the reasons you'd want. So, but yesterday we had like 30. Today we had like 15 people because people were like getting back to normal. But it's a long story. Let me get to comments here. Yes, don't have a meltdown. Everything's fine. We took care of the problem. You're here. Don't cry on me because I need you here for my next show tomorrow with Brandon Castelli, who's no problem with that. Yes, we blocked them. We moved on from them. The Mets have the momentum. The Mets should split in Philadelphia. Is that a disagree?
I would assume that's the goal at least, right?
Yeah.
At least get one game, right?
You don't want to go 0-2. I don't think the Mets have to get 1 out of 2. I definitely
I think they'll get one game. I think at least one game in Philly.
Get a game in Philadelphia. Get a game in Philadelphia, and Tuesday night is going to be a zoo at Citi Field.
Oh my goodness! Could you imagine if the Mets? And how about if the Mets somehow win these first 2 games? Oh my goodness! Can you imagine?
Oh, they win the first 2 games, and there's a
Rob
there's a
Maraska
chance
might
the
find a
person
way
goes
into
forward.
City Field. He would like climb. Barry, you might have to be security for Rob Maraska if he goes to the Mets game.
Tom,
he might be getting a ticket.
Tom, before I got hurt, I went to every postseason game.
I know, but this time might be different for you. Might have to have Barry. Barry, do you drive?
No, I do not.
All right, but Barry will go with you anyway for supervision.
I just drive people crazy. That's really it.
That's okay.
Listen,
Barry will go with you as your security.
I can drive you guys. If you guys need a ride, I can always take you.
I'm actually on Sportswire Tuesday. Unfortunately, I'm here.
Yeah, no,
every
you're
night.
too busy. You can't leave.
I know, seriously. Right now on sports, if I don't go on sports, especially the last couple of days, it'll be a firestorm. So it's already
Right.
been a fire.
No, you
That
can't
would
do that.
be
Yeah.
Good news. I'm clean. I got my background checks are good. But yes.
Did you ever think about doing a live from like a remote location? Like so
I did one year when I was on SoundCloud. I did one. It's one of our guys, Joe Rosas, who's probably not listening to Sportswire right now. But I did a show from his house. But I have 10 lights in the back. Barry, I don't know if you know this, but I have got 10 lights that set up Sportswire. So I would have to set up all these different things to go somewhere. So I don't know. Somebody wanted me to do it in Duffy's in Staten Island, but the setup's not really. Yeah, but they have poor the Wi-Fi is not good. The Wi-Fi is not good there. They have poor Wi-Fi. It wouldn't.
I would
work.
say me and Rob could do like a live show from there.
The problem is the
great.
Wi-Fi is very poor there.
Yeah.
It just it wouldn't. It's like you can't even log on the internet. It's like
so we can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
over there?
yes, Duffy's. You go in. By the way, Barry Davis went with Duffy's a couple of times. The Wi-Fi is very bad there. Very poor Wi-Fi connection. Very poor
Okay,
Wi-Fi.
I never realized that. But...
Nope, it wouldn't work. So people suggested, why don't you do Duffy's? You know the owner. I'm like, yeah, I could, but the Wi-Fi's, it doesn't work. Subscriber counts down. Yeah, I'm down 7. I know, Zilla. I know why I'm down 7. But Zilla, you need to go get me the 7 subscribers back. Zilla, can you get me the 7 subscribers back? I would appreciate that very much. I want to get to 1,000. I was almost at 1,000. Now I'm a little less, but I'll get there. All right. So the Mets story is what is. I want to talk about one thing before the Yankees series, and I got to mention the news about because Rob, you're the Grim Reaper. Barry, Rob is known as the Grim Reaper on Sportswire because he always has a death to report on the show. So if you want to find out the latest news about people dying, Rob Maraska has all the inside talk. But Rob, this is actually an important one. No, but it's funny, but it's not funny because this is a major one. Yeah. So, Rob, take it away.
Okay, I'm probably the only one here who saw Pete Rose play.
I saw him play.
I did. I seen him play a little bit.
No, I mean at the stadium.
Oh,
I saw him at Chase
Rob,
Stadium.
you saw Babe Ruth play. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, really. It caught me off guard because Pete Rose was actually at a signing the day before.
I just saw on YouTube
Tennessee.
he did an interview, he did a recent interview. He looked fine. I didn't know he was
and he was supposed to do a show a couple of weeks ago in Englewood, New Jersey. That my vet actually he's a Cincinnati Red fan from Cincinnati. He was going to go. He asked me if I was going to go, but they canceled that. Yeah, Pete Rose, 17-time All-Star. Okay. Yep. He is the only person in Major League history who played over 500 games in 5 different positions. Okay, think about that. That's just amazing. First base,
what was
second
that?
base, third base.
First, right? Third, second.
First, second, third, left field, right field. 75, 76 world champion Reds. 1980 world champion Phillies. No one has more hits than him in Major League Baseball.
3 World Series he won. 3.
Yeah, 3 World Series. Always played tough, but will always be remembered not getting in the Hall of Fame for his gambling. And unfortunately, that's part of his legacy. And me and Chris talked about this on our show on Monday.
I heard it. Yes, I listened to it.
Should he be in the Hall of Fame? I think, I don't know if they waited for him to die just to say, screw you. I don't know if they're ever going to put him in, but after all this, and Major League Baseball now is hypocritical because every pregame and postgame show is sponsored by DraftKings or some kind of betting, So if you're doing that, enough. Shoeless Joe Jackson and Pete Rose deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, that's what Joey Bostrom wants to say. Well, Joey, you should jump on one of these
It's
shows.
interesting though. Does he get in now? Now that he passed, like, are they going to do it for his family? Are they? I don't know. It's a tough call.
It's complicated.
It is a tough call
because he also has that thing that he supposedly had a relationship with an underage girl. That's also
God,
there.
we don't. After the last 2 shows on Sports, but we had 2 wrestlers outed as underage wrestlers.
Oh,
Craven Rage was he was with a 19.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's a little Craven Rage is a little one different, but it's still not good. But the other, we had 2 wrestlers outed with a 13-year-old. We don't want to do underage stuff, please. No more.
All right.
Of that.
Okay.
I'm
all
tired.
right. Let's just stick with the gambling.
Let's stick to gambling.
Chris, it's the Hall of Fame. It's not like the Hall of Good Guys. I mean, look at Ty Cobb, you know?
I know.
Yeah, Ty Cobb's a
know
racist.
that.
I mean, yeah, that's it.
And listen. I when I was a kid, because of the Bud Harrelson Pete Rose fight, I hated Pete Rose. You know, I hated him because of that fight. So for me to say, you know, I'd want to see him in the Hall of Fame, you know,
I think that if he didn't have it was alleged with the underage, or it was known to be underage.
It was alleged.
I think it was alleged. Yeah.
Then obviously, like, to be honest, then if it's alleged, I mean,
and it happened like 40 years ago. You know what I mean? It's not like it happened.
Yeah,
it's kind of the Craven Rage story, but it's a little worse than his. But let's not even go down that road. But the point
I don't think that's keeping him out. I'll be honest. That's not keeping him out. I think it's the gambling.
Yeah, but that's what I wanted to get. Is it gambling that's keeping him out, basically? Right?
Absolutely.
Gambling,
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And not just the gambling, but the lying for how many years? You know, I think if he came out in the beginning, like, yeah, listen, I admit it, I did it, you know, and suspend me, whatever. And I think if they got that over with from the beginning, I think he'd be in eventually. I don't know when, but I think he would have got in eventually.
But
now,
we don't think he'll get in the Hall of Fame. We think anybody here?
I would think eventually he does, right? Like a veterans committee.
Veterans committee, Chris, right? The veterans
something,
committee.
yeah. I would think so. I don't know. I'm just.
I still kind of remain skeptical. I don't think they'll put him in.
I know.
They probably won't. I mean, they haven't put Shoeless Joe Jackson in, and he really didn't even know what he was doing.
Yeah, no, he's.
He had a great World Series.
In the baseball. Do you think gambling was okay? Do you think that he should have been in the Hall of Fame, Barry? Do you think it's okay to bet on baseball?
I got nothing to say about that.
Have you ever betted before, Barry?
Yeah, I'm better right now into football right now. So
we'll talk about football in a few minutes. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that for you, Barry.
Hey, you know what? He should talk to Joey about some picks. Joey's,
Barry, you should know Joey. Joey was around years ago in this Turobin election.
Joey knows his stuff, man. He's been picking like crazy this year.
I haven't really picked this year because I don't have the time. But I'll pick
this monster, Joey.
I bet it in a card on October. The first game in September, I bet it. So
okay, so we'll get
tomorrow's my last week.
So you're not betting anymore after this week?
What happened?
Joey's got his own show. Yeah, he's on a YouTube channel.
He should do his own show with picks.
Well, he should be on Sportswire. You know, he should go out there and tell his friends. He comes on Sportswire. Tell his friends to come on to get me to 1,000 subscribers. There you go. Because I'm 65 away. So I got a bunch of people in the chat. Go and tell your friends to get me to 1,000 subscribers so I can get roasted on the air already. We got that. Who is Pete Rose? Pete Rose has the all-time hits record in Major League Baseball. He has 4,256 hits, but he's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame, Zilla, because he was found out to have been betting on Major League Baseball, which is not allowed. He also betted on the team he managed, which was the Cincinnati Reds. So, yes, that's what it was. I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. DG Colts. DG was on a stream which was a lot heated for understandable reasons, but we did some things that were important, I think, in the backyard wrestling world. I appreciate the guests. I hope we're having a good night. I'm talking baseball tonight, so this time it's a lot less controversial, DG. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And I'm talking about Pete Rose being in the Hall of Fame. And I don't know if you have a thought on that, but thank you, Mom, for sharing. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you, Joey. And Joey, do you remember Barry from years ago? Do you remember Joey? Joey probably forgot you, but all right. All right, Pete Rose, we thoughts and prayers. We say our condolences. Rob will have a eulogy next week on the show. Let's talk about the Yankees real quick. Yankees, Kansas City Royals. Yankees have been off for about almost 6 days, starting 4 o'clock first pitch. But Judge has been out, though, since Friday. So what do you guys think happens here, Yankees-Royals?
Listen, Kansas City's pitching is good, right? Especially their rotation, very good, and they've just pitched very well against
Four
us
starting
recently.
pitchers on 3.5 ERA under, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they just really, we just played them like 2 weeks ago, and they pitched really good against us.
That was the series in the Bronx. It was 2 out of 3 Yankees won, right?
Yeah, tough games, tight games. So it's going to come down to to the bats. Can the bats wake up? And can they just, as long as they keep it close going into a bullpen game, I think the Yankees got the advantage. But listen, let's put everything aside for a second. This is the easiest route for the Yankees have ever had going to to get to the World Series, right? Kansas City, let's be honest. You take the wins against the White Sox, and Kansas City is a below 500 team, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not taking anything away from them too, because they got a really good pitching staff, but they're not that good. They should be, right? And then the next round, they should beat Cleveland or Detroit. They're better than both of those
Detroit's
teams.
going to win that
I
series.
don't know how Detroit's in it, so I have no idea.
You know what? Have you ever
Makes no sense.
you talk about teams this year, right? Now the Mets we just talked about, but the Detroit Tigers were 55-63, and they were sellers at the deadline. They were sellers at the deadline.
Yeah,
They traded away their second best pitcher.
And what if they gone? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they've gone since then. They've gone 35-11, or something like that. 35-11. It's just.
I think in the beginning of August, they had like a 5% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
like the first week or something. It was, I forgot what the exact number.
And they
was.
had no player. If you look at their lineup, they had no player that you said, all right, they had 90, 100 RBI. They have any player over 80 RBIs in there. I mean, they had Scooble. Scooble was great, but I don't know how that team did it. I honestly,
if you look at their stats, right?
It was horrible.
Other than Scooble, they have nobody else that's in double-digit wins. The only other guy is Flaherty, who they traded away. Other than that, there's nobody else in double-figure wins.
And they let what's his name walk to Arizona last year, who was there on their rotation. And I just don't understand.
Rodriguez, right?
Correct. They were 55-63, and like I said, they would go. What was it, 33-13 or something like that? 35-11.
They went on some crazy run. I mean, listen, Minnesota kind of gave them a shot too, right? Minnesota fell apart.
Minnesota, I'm surprised. I think you guys talked about. I don't even know how their Baldelli comes back. Honestly, with that situation,
I wouldn't bring him back, but I think they already got rid of the GM or the baseball operations guy or whatever. So
that's why I even think further. How do you keep the manager? That's my. But so the Yankees do think have the Yankees easy path, but we're not worried at all about Kansas City.
I'm not worried. No, listen. Of course, anything can happen. So I'm not going to just say, "Oh yeah, Kansas City stinks. They're going to sweep." No, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tight series, but I think the Yankees should win. I mean, 4 games maybe at the most. I don't think it's going to go to 5 games.
Well, Kansas City's lineup is just not very good.
Yeah,
the games they beat Baltimore.
To me, there's 2 guys in that lineup that you got to worry about, right? Yeah. Bobby Witt and Salvador Perez, especially Perez against us.
Was injured. Pasquantino was injured. You had him. He was injured.
But I think he's back. He's back in.
Yeah, so I mean that lineup it's challenged, but the Yankees lineup at times has been challenged.
It's challenged too, right? It's true.
But you feel that the Yankees should win this series in 4 games?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, this is, like I said, this is their best chance to get to the World Series, right? There's not.
Yeah, I think Joey
there's not a team. There's not a team in the American League that you look at and you say, oh yeah, that's a better team than the Yankees. They're just not.
Detroit might be the hottest team, though.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Detroit's the Mets in the National League right now. Nobody wants to play.
I'm trying to think. Detroit and the Mets, in my experience, I don't think I've seen teams like this into the postseason. Just their story. I mean, the Detroit Tigers have Barry, could you imagine if the Detroit Tigers have not? It'd be like almost like if you, Barry, got elected to the state senate. It'd be just like, nondescript, have no real stars except one. And
out of nowhere, right?
Out of nowhere, Barry. It'd be like you, Barry, taking
See, it'd be different though if you got in there. It's not out of nowhere. It's like, oh, it's Tom Bryce.
I don't know about that, but I mean, the Detroit Tigers, I think they're gonna go to the World Series. I'm gonna say it. You're gonna shoot me for it.
At this point, why not? I could see Detroit and the Mets in the World Series.
No, right? I think the Mets. The Mets have a more difficult climb because you got the Phillies. There's going to be, I think the Phillies and Mets is going 5 games. I'm calling it right now. I think they're going to split in Philly. They're going to split in Citi Field. It's going to come down to a do or die 5th game. And can the Mets, will they run out of gas? I mean, that's why I see that. So you got the Padres and Dodgers. I'm calling it the Padres are going to win that series again because Freddie Freeman's out now, right? And the Padres beat the Dodgers last time 2 years ago. I kind of think the Padres. I don't trust the Dodgers. The Dodgers are in the playoffs every year. Barry, if you're betting on baseball, don't bet on them.
Padres got the better team too. Let's call a spade a spade.
Padres came in with more momentum. Again, another team with momentum. I don't know. In the American League, I think Detroit's going to beat Cleveland. I don't know Cleveland. I don't know why. I don't know. I do think the Yankees.
It doesn't make sense, but they probably will be Cleveland.
I don't know. Detroit.
It doesn't make sense.
I just can't figure out. The Yankees, I think, will beat Kansas City. I don't know why. I just don't. I don't even know. And Kansas City, I don't even know how they're in the playoffs. Honestly,
they got really good pitching. I mean, you think about the pitching you got from Michael Wacha, Cole Reagan, and Seth Lugo all year long. That rotation has been one of the best in baseball.
Is Bobby Witt going to get the MVP over Aaron Judge, or is Aaron Judge going to
Come on.
I think Aaron Judge.
You have to ask that question? Is that
I have to because I've been listening. Yes, other than I know Jake Dvorak's here, who is obviously our John Walsh of America's Most Wanted. And
is Lindor going to get it over Shohei Ohtani?
Lindor is absolutely not. I want to tell you why Lindor is not. Lindor missed 10+ games. Big difference with Lindor. He disqualified, not that he disqualified, but he was injured for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And Ohtani had 54 home runs and 59 stolen bases. We're never going to see that again. Come on. I mean,
do you think if Lindor played those 10 games or whatever?
The only argument you can make on both sides, would the Yankees make the playoffs without Aaron Judge? I think that's 50-50.
Yeah,
I say yes, they would make.
Would the Royals make the playoffs without Bobby Witt? Absolutely not.
Now the Royals with Bobby Witt. Now that's where you're right.
Yeah.
Would the Dodgers make the playoffs with Shohei Ohtani? Yes, they would.
Yes,
I think it's like the Yankees. I think
would the Mets make the playoffs without Lindor? No, they would not.
No. So now that's a no-brainer. Yeah, but Shohei Ohtani's season is just like.
Yeah, he had a one of a kind. You'll probably never even see that again from him. Kind of
in history, you're not going to see that.
No. Especially if he's going to pitch. Especially if he's pitching.
Oh,
I mean, if Acuna stays healthy, he might get 50-50. He did get 40-70, right?
It was 40-70, like 40-something.
He's got to stay healthy. We haven't.
He's got to stay healthy.
Barry, do you want
the guy gets hurt?
He's got 2 ACL injuries. I think both the same.
Barry, would you like to sign off, Barry? Would you?
Yes, I'm signing off.
Thank you, Barry. We'll see you Monday. See you Monday, Barry. I'll see you, Barry. Barry's retired for the night, so we'll let Barry retire for today. Thank you, Barry. Barry's here. Go buy his candles. Listen, we're not going to see a season with Ohtani ever again. There's no. With that. Let me get to some.
He's going to be pitching, right?
Yeah. Let me get to a couple things. Zilla would like to say, I don't know much about baseball. Rest in peace to Pete Rose. Sending my thoughts and my prayers to condolences. Yes, Pete Rose at 83. Yankees going to have a tough time, but we should win. Houston and Baltimore are gone. Yeah, Houston, I didn't see. I still, about the Tigers, I didn't see. I thought Baltimore would beat Kansas City too, but the last couple of years, the road team seems to win in these series. If you noticed in these short series,
me and Rob both had Kansas City beating Baltimore, right?
You did?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
I did have Houston beating Detroit, but
well, why is the road team so good in these short series? I don't understand it. Why in these short series did they find a way to win?
You know why?
Why?
This feels like another 3-game series on the road. That's really it.
Pretty good line.
When it comes down to it, you just play an extra 3 games on the road. It doesn't feel like it's much of a difference. I mean, the Padres were the only home team to win.
Well, I think the Braves basically
were the road team. The Royals were the road team, and the Tigers were the road team.
The Braves, I think, with Sale's injury,
they were just toast. They were toast.
Yeah. And it's nice that they're not in it.
Let me get to a few more comments here. Yankees, I got that. Hello to Jake Dvorak. Guess we just said hello to him. Who's playing? The World Series isn't for another 3 weeks, so you got time. TBK may come in here in a few minutes. We'll let him get a Baltimore rant and KC in the playoffs because Baltimore simply could not produce. Yes, Mom saying goodbye. Pumpkin says, hello, Joey. Let's go. KC and Philly, boo to the Yankees and Mets. So we got KC and Philly here in the house. Hello, Joey. So Joey's been helping us here.
Why does everybody hate the Yankees? Why is it always, come on. What have the Yankees done, right? In the last 15 years, we haven't won a World Series since 2009.
No.
Is it the stigma of the fact that they've won so many times?
Yes, of course it is.
Maybe, but
it is, but it's not. I mean, they've practically done nothing over the last decade and a half.
Exactly. We've done nothing in the last 15 years. So,
but you've been in the playoffs. Maybe this perception is you've been in the playoffs.
Yeah, just about every year. Yeah, that's true, but still.
Okay, so I mean, look, Kansas City. I don't know. Yeah, TBK hates the Yankees. He's a Baltimore
and
guy.
He should. Yeah, he should. He should.
Well, he's a fan of a rivalry team.
Nothing wrong with that.
Makes sense. I mean, but the Yankees, it does feel like this could be their moment. It could be their moment to go into the World Series.
It should be. If it's not, it's going to be a huge disappointment. I mean, all in, right, with DeSoto. They're more or less fully healthy. I mean, I know, Rizzo's not going to be on the roster. He wasn't really playing that well anyway.
I was going to say, Rizzo.
You're probably better off without Rizzo in the lineup.
Yeah, you know what? I like his glove more than anything. So now you're going to have probably Ben Rice playing first base. So, yeah, I mean, he's still a kid. He's a rookie. So who knows how he's going to play in the playoffs. So that's why you want Rizzo there. But still, it's not a huge – I'm not – trust me, it is what it is. But they have everything. Everything is lined up for them, basically. So there's no excuse. This is it. If it doesn't happen this year, heads should roll. At least should, but I don't know if they will.
Juan Soto's the free agent.
Yeah.
Juan Soto's the free agent.
Yeah.
But does his thing get impacted?
No, I think he comes back, whatever. I think if the Yankees want him back, they're going to go full bore no matter what happens. Because, listen, Soto is, a generational hitter, right? Whatever. So no matter what he does in the playoffs, I don't think that has any impact on his, Is his situation different than Alonso? Oh, tremendously different. So, he's younger, he's more proven. I mean, the guy, it's just, Soto's going to get more than $500 million.
Oh, yeah.
Alonso's going to get what?
300
million?
50?
No. At this point,
he should get at least
5 for 150 for Alonso.
You don't think somebody will give him 7 years for 210 or something like that? 200?
He gets more than 150, I think, just because the Cubs may pay that.
How old is he? 30?
Yeah.
30?
He'll be 30 in December.
He started 19. He's got 6 years, right? 6 years in the boot. Joined by TBK. I'm going to give you, I'll let you get on the Orioles for about 5 minutes. Pumpkin, I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm a hater, but I do love Giancarlo Stanton. I'd love to steal him for Boston. Joey knows this. And Pumpkin, hit the sub button for me while you're at it. Thank you for that.
What about 7 at 25 million? That's 7,175. What about that?
But Rob brought up 5 and 150, right? So you're gonna go 7 and 175. It ain't gonna. He ain't
5
gonna take
150. That's 30 million a year, right? You think he'll get?
He's gonna want more than 5. He's gonna want more than 5.
I didn't say that. Justin said that, I think.
Oh, yeah. 5.
You think he's going to get 30 million a year?
I think at a lower yearly cost, at a lower yearly.
Somebody's going to be desperate. The back of the baseball card averages 40 plus home runs in a full season.
Listen,
it depends. I'm worried about the fact that his OPS has dropped 3 years in a row.
But it's
but everybody's OPS in baseball is dropped. Everybody's numbers are dropping OPS. They don't hit. These guys strike out. TBK, what do you got for me on the Orioles?
No, I was just glad to be back, boys. Nice to see you again. Justin, love the hair. I was just gonna say, the Orioles, man, they've been so disappointing. They've been right there every year. They've been competitive. They've been in there, but the undisciplined batting, the swinging at first pitches, hacking at things that are way outside this strike zone. Adley Rutschman looking at balls right down the middle and not swinging the bat. I mean, what do you expect? And like I said, I don't think it's so much that Kansas City was the better team. I don't believe that. I don't. And if you want to disagree with me, fine. This team has gone through so much injuries, so many injuries, but they still found a way to make it. But when it mattered, they folded. And we can keep blaming it on the team being young. We can keep blaming it on, Brandon Hyde refusing to play small ball or whatever the case may be. But you're there. You've got to produce, and they're just not.
So where does this team go from here then? The last 2 postseasons produced not a single win. Where do they go from here?
The question that I asked you guys a long, long time ago, if you remember, Chris, I'm sure you remember because you and I were talking about it back and forth. What happens to guys like Anthony Santander? A guy who wants to absolutely finish his career or have his career in Baltimore. He was your home run leader. Again, Jackson Holiday. He started off.
The kid's 19 years old.
He's so young. He's so young. He's so young. He's so young. He's so young.
He'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
The Orioles at this point in their tenure, are known for being a team that is trying to rebuild with so many young players. So who knows what the future is? But when you get there, okay, when you get to the big dance so many times, or you have the chance to get to the big dance so many times, you gotta produce. And
yeah,
you're just,
you know what? Their bats down the stretch, not just the playoffs, but like the last month of the season, they looked really inconsistent.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
And like you said, the pitching, the injuries that they got in the pitching,
yes,
horrible, right? And their bullpen was weak to begin with.
And the Tigers beat them late in the series, right? Tigers came in there, handled them, right? I mean, the Yankees,
I think you got an interesting offseason, right? Because you got Santander as a free agent, Burns as a free agent. Like, what are they going to do there? You also got the kid Kobe Mayo up, right? One of the best prospects in baseball. But you got the other kid at their base, right? Westberg, right? Is that
Westberg? Yes.
So where are you going to put Mayo? You're probably going to you're either going to trade somebody and put Mayo at third, or you're going to trade Mayo for maybe a bat or a pitcher, right? And then you got to decide who they going to sign.
Well, that's what I was saying to you before. Does Santander's does his wish to want to stay with the team, and a guy who produced. He's not the fastest. He's not the best in the outfield, but he produced when it came to putting runs on the damn board. Do you let a guy like that go? Can you afford to let a guy like that go?
You shouldn't, but it's going to be. Listen, you got a new owner who does have deep pockets.
Yes,
he's got deep pockets like Cohen does. But will he invest that money? That's the thing.
Maybe you could look at it and say,
I would hope so.
There's 2 sides of the coin. You could look at it and say, well, maybe he invests the money because the team has not had success, or he changes course. I don't know. There's 2 sides of the coin. I mean, look at the Padres, right? The Padres spent all those money those last couple of off seasons. They didn't quite spend as much. They changed managers, changed course, and they're back in the playoffs. So, I mean, it'll be an interesting decision that they'll have to figure out, but it's still disappointing nevertheless, because the team, again, the first 2 months of the season, they played really strong, and then, they struggled down the stretch. Kimbrel, right, was designated for assignment. The starting rotation struggled, did a lot of games, right? I mean, they had
terrible.
You know what? And they had a shot at the trade deadline. They could have went and got the closer from the Marlins, who ended up going to the Padres. That's who they should have went after for at least the closer job. But I don't know if that would have made that big of an impact, because their bats kind of just, went quiet the last month of the season. And then
I'll be realistic. I will be realistic. I will not sit here and be a homer. If anything, I've been very, very honest about how my teams compete when the chips are on the table. at the end of the day, this team, the teams prior, we had all the opportunity. We're just not producing. So who do you lay the blame on? Do you lay the blame on the players? Do you lay the blame on management? I mean, Buck and Brandon both got us to the damn dance. What's happening with this
I think
team?
with Buck, you got to a league championship series at least. You got to a league. You got to an
At
LCS.
least. At
you got
least.
to an LCS. But with this team, this core, and you're a year ahead of schedule on the rebuild, but you haven't won a postseason game. You're in the division series. You're in the wild card, but you don't win a playoff game. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're 0-5 in the postseason. That's the tough part. Because with Buck, at least, you won. You got to the LCS, right? You maybe twice got to the LCS, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
you got the 2 LCSs, but this team, remains to be seen what happened. But you could look at it and say, they could still get back next year because again, Boston? What is Boston? Tampa Bay. What is them? Toronto. The three of them were identical: 80 and 82 and
But
81
they should
and
be
81.
better next year.
Yeah.
We should be.
Yeah, you guys and the other teams too. They're not going to lay around. Boston's not going to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So, but I think with Baltimore, they have to go into this offseason. Yeah, I think Baltimore has to go into this offseason with a different mindset. They can't go in like, hey, we got this young team. Let's see what we can do. It's not that way anymore. Now you're going for it. Now you've made the playoffs the last 2 years. You've made that jump. Now you're one of the better teams in the league. Now you got to start acting like it.
Yep.
Right? Now you got to start spending money on free agents, whether it's Corbin Burns, Santander, or they got to make moves, maybe move one of these young kids. Because like I said, Mayo right now doesn't have a position, right? Because Westberg is out there. So I think something's got to happen.
I guess, like I said, it begs the question, like, who do you let go? Because let's be honest, Adley struggled down the stretch. He wasn't producing at the plate.
But he's not going anywhere. He's not.
No, for sure. But I mean, when you have a guy who did produce and who was an ultimate, like, sorry guys, for fuck's sake, the guy was a beast.
Yeah.
In James McCann. You have to look there and go, Adley. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I think, maybe what they got to do is try to, maybe limit Rutschman's games behind the plate a little bit more. Maybe play him at first base a little bit more so he stays fresh throughout the season. But like I said, they got a different mindset, right? You got the other big prospect catcher coming up, right? He's going to take over the catcher position when he comes up, right? So you would think they're going to eventually move Rutschman to first base when this kid comes up. So if he goes over to first base, then you can
what they do with Mountcastle.
Right. I was going to say, maybe they'll move him as well. Like now this is the transition that you're going to go through with this team.
Yeah.
It's not just this young team that's
become a DH more often than not a DH.
Yeah.
You might DH Rushman. You could DH Mountcastle.
Right.
I would totally DH Rutschman. I would leave Mountcastle where he is. Mountcastle is a great first baseman.
You don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, for sure. I hope I didn't bust anything up. Sorry.
No. Honestly, it's great. We're talking about Baltimore anyway. I mean, obviously they got they're an interesting situation. Again, the short exit into the postseason. Next year there's a lot of decisions.
A lot of questions.
Yep, a lot of questions.
A lot of questions, and you really don't know yet how this new ownership's going to spend. I would be all in on bringing back Corbin Burns if I were them. I'd be all in on trying to keep Santander, but that remains to be seen. Corbin Burns arguably going to be the best pitcher on the market, and he's going to be a hot commodity.
I mean, for me, it's just
people even look at the Mets and say the familiarity between David Stearns and Corbin Burns are the Mets a fit. Naturally, right? Teams with deeper pockets are going to go after Corbin Burns. Same with Anthony Santander because he's one of the better outfielders that's going to hit the market.
Switch hitter too.
Like that.
I would,
Lock them in
Think
long
of it this
term, yeah.
way: they
I was
only
just
have
gonna-
$59 million allocated to their salary next year.
Yeah.
$59 million. That's it. So they could afford to sign Burns and Santander and somebody else.
I was
That's
just
the will
gonna,
they do it.
I was just gonna say it at this point, when you have a player who expresses interest in finishing their career with your club, that's a guy you want to keep around. That's a loyal guy. That's a guy that people can. That's a people that can
Most
rally
players say that
around.
anyway, right? Most players say that anyway, just because they want to keep everybody involved, right? Because they're going to say, "Hey, I love it here. This place is great," and then they know, okay, the Giants are going to want to sign me, and the whoever. There's going to be 5, 6,
And the
7 other
but the
teams.
Mariners earlier.
The Mets might want to sign Santander, right?
Teams that want to look for offense. Teams
I can see the Mets going after him, right?
Well, the Mets
can use him.
Mets question is going to be is with Alonso. If you don't bring Alonso back, you have to replace that power bat. How are you going to be if
and there's
you
your
don't
guy?
bring
Well,
him
the
back?
whole situation with that is, obviously the Mets are not ready for that question yet because they still have some playoff baseball to play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you do have to look at it and you have to think about what's the future hold. Are they going to bring back Alonso? And to me, if they don't, and Alonso goes elsewhere, the no-brainer is Mark Vientos as the first baseman. And now you're giving Brett Beatty another chance. You're letting Ronnie Mauricio come off an injury and see if he can play third base, right? You have Ronald Acuna. Luis Angel Acuna.
Not quite.
But Luis Angel Acuna,
you might want to have him, but not that one. Yes,
he's going to be an option at second base.
I think you got Martinez is not going. You got Martinez, right? Who's not going to come back. But think of it this way: Alonso and Martinez's salary, you're going to have that off the books. So you're going to figure out how am I replacing those two bats because Martinez is a 1-year deal. Yep.
Also, too, you got to remember all the Verlander and Scherzer money come off the books as well. The Mets have a ton of money. The Mets actually only have like $120 million allocated for 2025.
People think, that's not a lot of money. It is, trust me, it's a lot of money in the real world. But we'll have to see.
Well,
but in terms of what their payroll is, they have a lot of money coming off the books, and that's going to allow them to have.
That was good. That the Baltimore,
but they're also going to have to sign a lot of pitching too. The Mets.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and go, but I just wanted to get some opinions.
Good stuff. You added something a lot. Thank you for that. The Orioles. Always good to see you.
Appreciate
you. Enjoyed the pod. We'll see you next week, my man. Good stuff.
See ya. Yes,
Thank you, my man. That was TBK, who gave a Orioles perspective on things. Good to hear from him. Thank you for coming your service, and we'll obviously see him next week there. So we got the Yankees side of the story, Mets side of the story. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we move on and end the show? Anything else? Football? Want to throw football? Jets related? Aaron Rodgers? Don't talk about him, right? Giants? Forget about them. Anything? I mean, I'm sure we'll get into football a little bit more.
The biggest thing for me with the Jets, and I said it with Charmin the other night.
And who's going to watch the game early? Right? Everybody watching the game early.
I'll be on the road. I'll be heading up.
You're on the road, okay?
But I think with the Jets, it's going to be what team shows up. Is it going to be the team that showed up this past week or the one that showed up the week before?
Just the Patriots, yeah.
Because that's a big difference. That's either a playoff team or one of the worst teams.
The team that played the Denver Broncos looked like a team that was the same old Jets. That was the team that's
right. Yeah.
There was no rhythm. There was no rhythm at all to the game.
Do you blame the weather on that? The weather conditions were horrible
at home. The number of false start penalties at home was absolutely unacceptable.
Embarrassing.
And that's on coaching. Their penalties have always been a problem under Robert Saleh, and it has not gotten better in 4 years. And listen, Aaron Rodgers could play as well as we think he's going to play. We could see more of the week 2, week 3 Aaron Rodgers, and I think we're going to see that for the bulk of the year. We're going to see a very good Aaron Rodgers. Robert Saleh is going to hold this team back, and you know it. I mean, if the Jets don't go anywhere, it's because of his coaching decisions. He's a bad head coach, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have to carry this team as far as humanly
it's so funny. The week before, right? Jet fans, my brother on Facebook, it's going to be, this team's going to be great. It's going to be greatness. And then the week later, it's the same old Jets.
The roster's not the issue. The roster's not the issue at all. The coach is the issue. Even at 2-1 after beating down on New England, I didn't have a high level of confidence in Robert Saleh. That's remained the same. That hasn't changed. And actually, it got worse last week because you lost to a Denver team you should have beaten at home
easily.
Yeah. That's one. Now you're playing a Vikings team that's a mild surprise right now.
Listen, Sam Darnold's playing well. The offense is going to be tough. It'll be a tough matchup for Sauce Gardner. Obviously, he's got to face Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison's back healthy. So the Minnesota Vikings have a ton of weapons. Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler in the backfield. They got some good running backs. Their backup tight ends holding the fort down for TJ Hawkinson have played well. And Sam Darnold has looked fantastic over the first 4 weeks of the year. So, the Vikings at 4-0, they're really no joke right now. And they're good.
Yeah, I mean, who would have guessed that? People thought, all right, well, the Packers will be back.
Because when you go into the season, they signed Sam Darnold, you're like, he's a placeholder for J.J. McCarthy. They drafted McCarthy in the first round, and then McCarthy gets hurt in preseason. He's done for the year. And all of a sudden, Sam Darnold's playing lights out football, and he's been great every single week so far. Listen, Darnold's not going to be an easy matchup for this Jets defense.
Well, I mean, we're going to certainly find out, talk about a little bit more of it as the weeks ahead. Until then, we're obviously Mets and Yankees in the playoffs once again. Doesn't happen too often. It happened, obviously, in 2022. It happened for a blink of an eye in 2015 when they played the old format in the baseball wild card form. Remember, the Yankees made the playoffs.
I think the Yankees lost in the wild card game that year.
To Houston. Yep. The Yankees had a cameo.
I think I saw October 7th, 2006 was the last time the Mets and Yankees played on the same day in the postseason.
Right, because that was what I'm trying to think. That was the Mets and Dodgers, Yankees,
the Mets
Tigers,
and Dodgers, NLDS. The Yankees were playing the ALDS.
Yeah, the Yankees, Tigers, and the Mets and Dodgers. Yep, that was on my birthday. Actually, that was my birthday, October 7th.
Ah,
wow,
my birthday. Yep,
your birthday's coming up.
It's good. I'm actually, if you want to come and say hello, you're welcome on the stream to say hello. I'll be here from like 9:00 on. There's no wrestling talk. If you want to just say happy birthday or whatever, you're definitely welcome to it. But I am here. It'll be my birthday. I do appreciate everybody tunes in. I think some people will. Barry will be here at least. Barry, my buddy. But yes, we're gonna be here. A couple of people. I do have a couple of surprises. People from friends of my past that will be here, which will be fun. Jacob Bard is the name. Remember Rob, Jacob Bard. Jacob Bard's gonna be there. Jacob, the Yak Attack.
Let's talk the movies.
Jacob Bard has probably been in too many movies. They have to throw him out. Him and Michael D'Elia, they'll be probably here. D'Elia, I saw D'Elia at Joe and Pat's. Bard, I spoke to on WhatsApp, but that one of them will be here. But yes, that's my birthday. But that was the Mets that was that famous 2016. But yes, Ravens. What if the Ravens pick up Devontae Adams? Yeah,
I think that's a great move for them. But it's still going to come down to what I said earlier. It's going to come down to Lamar Jackson, how he performs in January in the playoffs.
Yeah,
can he make
about that last week on the show? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. It's as simple as that. I mean, they've had a good enough team the last few years to get to the Super Bowl, but they keep getting stuck in that first round, second round, whatever. And it falls on Lamar Jackson.
It's tough. I mean, this team, he's a great quarterback, got MVPs, but sometimes, it's going to be an interesting question. A very big topic.
That monkey gets bigger and bigger on your back when you don't succeed in the playoffs. If you're a quarterback,
yep, yeah, it's tough. Allen's facing it. It's a tough thing.
And it's tough. Weird. I think Lamar Jackson gets it worse than Josh Allen.
2 MVPs. That why?
I would think so.
Two MVP. He did it 2 in 5 years. I mean, that's
he's done it all in the regular season. I mean, 2-time MVP. There's not much else.
And last year was set up for him. Yep.
He had the AFC Championship game at home.
Yep.
Well, maybe he'll get it again. We'll have to find out. But this was the show tonight. We had a lot of fun. Thanks, TBK, for coming in. Thanks to Mrs. Gutman, who fell asleep with Barry. Barry fell asleep. We thank a lot of people. Joey Bostrom was here. Pumpkin, Joey's friend. Joey has a YouTube channel, apparently. He does YouTube streams. Zilla was here for a long time. A lot of people were here. A lot of fun. Thank you. Magnum Carter shared our show on Facebook. Comatose, my buddy, who's back not this Monday, the following with BTW shared. A lot of people did. Thank you for those that supported. Everybody else in between. Appreciate you as well. Let's get to some closing thoughts. I'm going to go with you, Justin, first. Want to pass the baton to you. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say, and fire away. Closing thoughts.
Thank you, Tom. It's great to be here. Chris, Rob, good show tonight. Listen, we got to be fired up about our teams. You know, Chris, for you, the journey starts tomorrow on the road to the World Series, and you know, Rob, for us, it's another obstacle in the way, and it's a rival. and unfortunately, the Orioles actually ruined the all rivalry league division series because you got division rivals, the Tigers and the Guardians. You have a heated rivalry between the Phillies and the Mets.
And Padres Dodgers.
And Padres Dodgers. That has gotten extremely
But
heated.
Yankees Royals, and I think Rob and Chris were talking about it on not this show, but the following, right? The one prior was Yankees Royals have a big playoff history, you know, in the 70s.
Listen, Yankees Royals, definitely a classic in Major League history between 76 and 77. A lot of the teams with George Brett. You know, the Royals and Yankees definitely have.
Yeah, Royals were great for a long time in the 70s and 80s, right? They were
absolutely. Early 80s. They were great and
fantastic franchise.
Brett was
they were really
number one in New York.
And the Royals were really the class of the AL West at that time.
Yep.
And,
I think they were in the playoffs like 7 times in 10 years or something.
Something like that. So I mean, listen. So really, it is rivalry division series time. You know, the Yankees Royals more of a historical standpoint, and
Mets and Phillies in the playoffs. Mets and Phillies.
First time in history, the Mets and Phillies meet up.
That's he's going to be nuts. I think that Met Phillies series is going to be like worse than a Giants Eagles game. Could you imagine those games? The fights that are going to break out at Citi Field and Philly tomorrow.
It's going to be a wild series, and of all people, Kodai Senga getting the start. I couldn't have seen that.
I thought he was. I know because he was set to be done, you know, and here we are.
No one saw that coming.
And the Padres Dodgers square up for the 3rd time in 5 years in the postseason. It's the 3rd playoff series. Those two teams square off.
And that rivalry's gotten heated. Has gotten heated over the last.
Padres have gotten good.
Years.
They've actually finally gotten good again. The Padres have, you know, had some postseason success, and
listen, they got to the Dodgers a couple of years ago. They took them out in 4 games on their way to losing to the Phillies in the National League Championship Series. So, I mean, listen, you're gonna have postseason history in the National League because the Mets and Dodgers have postseason history against each other. Recently been more favorable to the Mets. Padres Phillies just played in the LCS 2 years ago. Dodgers and Phillies back in the late 2000s when the Phillies were on their run, they played in
and they got history in the 70s too, the 80s and 70s.
Absolutely, Dodgers and Phillies in the 70s, 80s. So there's history all over the place. The Mets, you know,
Mets and Padres 2022.
A couple years ago, they played. So I mean, each matchup it should be epic in the National League. The National League really feels like a heavyweight fight, while the American League feels like
undercard. The undercard.
Bunch of lightweights.
Yeah. And one other thing, Reds hired Terry Francona as manager.
I'm stunned.
Yep.
I'm stunned. That came out of nowhere.
I don't. Yeah.
I think it's a great move. You know, as long as the guy's healthy, obviously he is. I don't think he would have took the job if he
would
wasn't.
Never taken the job. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. You know.
But you guys were talking about the Reds. You guys talked about the Reds on last week's show about David Bell, and then you got the manager. Francona's a winner. That's a team that's got some pieces in a very winnable division. What happens with Milwaukee? Another choke in the playoffs. St. Louis has had some decisions to make.
You got to keep those pitchers healthy. Nick Lodolo, Hunter Green. You got to keep.
Everybody was high on them this year. Maybe that's a team with the right manager.
They really faded in the second half of the year.
They did.
Well, they were hanging around a lot of the year.
They were banged up early. Yeah, even what's his name didn't even play at all. Matt McClain, right?
Yeah.
TJ Friedel was out a lot early on, so yeah, they got hurt a lot.
A lot of injuries.
All right. Anything else you want to say, Justin, before I pass the baton?
That's about it. Can't wait to see you guys again next week.
We had a lot of fun. A lot of people tuned in, and let me go to Chris, because I think Rob's got a contest to end the show with. Chris, I want to give you the floor, give you some closing thoughts. Obviously, looking forward to playing the Liftoff Jets. I got it last time. I'll be playing it coming up here today now on Sportswire, and safe travels on the road. And anything else you want to plug, share, or say, I pass the baton to you.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Guys, Rob, Justin, great show. Just looking forward to the playoffs starting tomorrow. Finally, we talked about the delay or whatever, but just looking forward to it, man. So far, the playoffs have been great. The wild card games were awesome.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't know how it's going to get topped, but I can't wait to see what's next. So, and I'm expecting the Yankees to win against Kansas City in that series. They're just a better team. So if they lose, it'll be a huge disappointment, especially in the first round. But I'm just looking forward to it, and I can't wait.
Absolutely, and excited about that. If you want to listen to Chris's Liftoff Jets podcast, it's going to be on sportswireradio.org. Until then, Spotify it is. Sharman and Chris do a great job covering the NFL and more. Always love hearing what the guys have to say. We'll play it before the game. Also, we have Rob, and the contest man is back, which means I pass the baton to you, Rob, for your closing thoughts, and pull up this Otani card and anything else you want to plug, share, or say toward tonight's show.
Thanks. Yeah, great show, guys. Chris, Justin, a lot of fun as usual.
Barry was here with us. Randy was in the house. TBK made a couple cameos.
TBK, that was a good little segment there about Baltimore. I just can't wait for the series to start. Mets Phillies going to be wild. Mets and Yankees in the postseason again at the same time. Rare, but it's great for New York. It's great for everybody. I have a contest for NYMLB Talk. Actually, me and Chris do, where we're giving away this Tops Now Otani 50-50 club card. It sold out pretty fast, so I was able to
can imagine.
get another one. And we're giving it away. They just have to follow us. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Just go to the page and check it out.
I heard you talking about that on the pod. Yep.
Yeah, we got that going. And Chris, I just want to say we're international now. We had a listener in Russia, of all places.
There you go.
How? I don't know. But
I'm assuming on Spotify, because on Sportswire, we do get listeners. We haven't had them from Russia, but I've had them from overseas. But that would be on your Spotify page, correct?
Or it could be. I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Well, Tom, you did that interview that time with the Russian guy, right? The Russian person.
Yes, Mr. Davidson.
Right?
Yeah, yes. Who actually, you reminded me, Gregory Davidson, who is the head of Davidson Radio, which is the largest Russian radio station in the world outside of Russia. He actually, I'm going to be back on Davidson Radio next month. I'm back on Davidson Radio. You reminded me about that. Mr. Davidson, it's funny. Barry was on and he worked for David Starobin and they hate each other. It's a little, speaking of backyard wrestling politics, there's little Odessa politics in Brighton Beach, and yours truly is had a role in the Brighton Beach politics, but I'm sure that'll be a boring topic. Thankfully, Zilla, you don't have to, but yes, I was on Davidson Radio. I don't know if that's because you're on because of my Davidson Radio show. Maybe, I don't know, but yes, I will be back on Davidson Radio next month actually to discuss backyard wrestling, which is now a major topic, and I'll be also discussing probably Brooklyn politics. So we'll mix both in, but that'll be my life in a nutshell. That's my life in a nutshell. But yes, I'm on the okay side of things. But Rob's contest, I've shared it on both pages from the New York MLB Talk. Please check it out. Thank you for you saying good show. Appreciate that. That was our story. Check out all the great stuff on Sportswire Radio. Please hit the sub button for us. We're on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579. I gained 1 subscriber back after losing a bunch, but we do appreciate that. I'll be on tonight with Brandon Castelli of DBW. Brandon is wrestling in World War. We'll talk about that. I'll also be back with the guys next week. I'm here next week. We'll be talking Hopefully, Mets and Yankees will be in the postseason still. We'll talk about the Jets. Hopefully, the Jets back on track. Giants, who knows? Maybe wait till next year. But until then, we were joined by Justin Gianelli. I was joined by Rob Maraska and Chris Bazaya, also the host of the New York MLB Talk. Chris also is the host of the Liftoff Jets. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. I'm also here for my birthday, Monday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. on from 9 o'clock Eastern. You're welcome to pop by, say hello, say something. Chat will be open, and I'll be here a couple of times. I'm here every day, so there's no difference. I'll be on here. There'll be somebody I'm on with at this point. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one Global Radio